The few hundred immortals in the stadium rustled, wanting to go in immediately. The few hundred immortals in the stadium rustled, wanting to go in immediately. At this moment, one abstruse immortal tertiary stage got up and said, "Everyone calm down. There are 8 formation doors. Some are real and some are fake, or they might all be real or all be fake. I think we should divide into 8 groups, and each group should attack a formation door. Then everyone go in and try their luck." Okay, agreed. This is the best solution, many people agreed, and soon the few hundred immortals formed 8 groups of about equal size. Luo Wufa walked to Zhenbingyu and scanned Yi Mo contemptuously before saluting with his fists. "Goddess Bingyu, let's go together. I know a little about formations. I won't let you lose out." Zhen Bingyu didn't look at him and stared at Yi Mo for a long while before asking coldly, "You really don't want to go in and test your luck?" Yi Mo smiled plainly. "There are so many masters here. It's not something I can get. I'm going, but if Marshall's sister Bingyu wants to go to the place you spoke about, then you had best come with me." Then Yi Mo walked out rapidly. Seeing Yi Mo's speed, Zhen Bingyu clenched her teeth and chased up to Yi Mo. "I'll listen to you once." Yi Mo ignored Zhen Bingyu and just went even faster. At this moment, another skinny young golden immortal peak stage chased up to Yi Mo and left the stadium with Yi Mo. All the immortals were attacking the formation door, wanting to get Wushuang Immortal's heritage. The 3 went out, and some people saw, but no one cared. Seeing another person come out, Yi Mo looked at that golden immortal with confusion and killing intent. He didn't understand how someone could resist the temptation of Wushuang Immortal Emperor's heritage. Qianbei, Wanbei is Cha Qiong, a solo cultivator of the Jifeng, extreme wind, heaven domain. The skinny golden immortal quickly said. Yi Mo looked at him and said, "Brother Cha, I'm only a golden immortal primary stage. Why are you calling me Qianbei?" But Yi Mo didn't slow down at all, and instead went even faster. Cha Qiong saluted with his fists. "I saw Qianbei at the asteroid door, so I know Qianbei is definitely not someone who is scared of death, nor that abstruse immortal. With your courage to cross the heaven domain void alone, how can you be scared at the heritage grounds?" Yi Mo nodded. "You're very smart. If you don't want to die, then leave with me." "Thank you, Qianbei." Cha Qiong saluted with his fists in joy. Before Zhen Bingyu could say anything, Yi Mo said heavily, "Quickly release your flying magic artifact and let me control it." Okay, Zhen Bingyu didn't argue at all. Yi Mo used the rainbow stamp at full power, and it dashed towards the exit of Corner Soul Domain rapidly. Seeing this, Cha Qiong was shocked. He knew his guess was right. This Qianbei's spirit sense wasn't depleted at all here. How could he be afraid of that abstruse immortal middle stage? He could easily annihilate that abstruse immortal middle stage with such spirit sense, but why didn't he kill that guy and instead gave the corner soul mushroom to him? Just when Cha Qiong wanted to ask, Yi Mo asked him, "Brother Cha, do you have a corner soul mushroom on you?" Wanbei picked one. Cha Qiong quickly took one out and said, "Throw it away," Yi Mo said. "Yes, Qianbei." Cha Qiong threw it away without any doubt. Yi Mo sped up the rainbow stamp even more. Cha Qiong's mind was clear, and Yi Mo didn't sense any ill will from him. That's why he decided to help. Yi Mo felt this person was worth helping and not someone to betray someone who helped him. "Brother Cha, once you leave today, do not mention anything about Corner Soul Domain, or you won't escape death. Don't even mention that I can use part of my spirit sense," Yi Mo reminded him. Yes, Cha will remember Qianbei's words. Before he even finished, he felt the space around here rattle, as though it was about to collapse. Yi Mo's face changed greatly, and he sped up the rainbow stamp even more, but the rattling of space was getting greater and greater. The rainbow stamp seemed to be getting slower and slower. Even Zhen Bingyu noticed things weren't right. Her face was cold, but she approved of Yi Mo. She really couldn't comprehend how Yi Mo knew something was wrong and how it was related to corner soul mushroom. Cha Qiong was shook even more. He felt that since Yi Mo dared to cross the heaven domain void alone when he was golden immortal primary stage, he was definitely someone extremely talented and wouldn't make a mistake in such a situation. Now, it seemed his decision was right. Something scary was about to happen at the corner soul domain. The space rattled more with a sliver of a soul-enchanting sound, as though the sound was telling them to stay. Even Zhen Bingyu felt her mind was shaking and subconsciously looked at Yi Mo. She found that Yi Mo bit his lips, but the rainbow stamp didn't slow down at all. There was a rattle and the rainbow stamp shook. She wanted to ask Yi Mo, but seeing his sunken face, she ate the words. About 15 minutes later, space shook even more, and it began to distort. But then, Zhen Bingyu saw Yi Mo's face finally easy. Before she could ask, she felt her sea of consciousness loosen up and her spirit sense recover. They were out of the corner soul domain. Just when Zhen Bingyu wanted to talk, she found that Yi Mo didn't slow down at all. As though knowing what she wanted to say, Yi Mo said coldly, "Use your spirit sense to scan the corner soul domain, and you will know. Quickly help me control Rainbow's stamp. I need to kill shadowless vultures." Cha Qiong looked back at the disappeared corner soul domain, and his face was pale. Zhen Bingyu saw what happened, and her face went pale too. She finally understood what Yi Mo meant. The corner soul domain was shrinking, and those few immortals standing at the border were swept in. Instantly, the shrinking corner soul domain disappeared from their spirit sense. For 3 days, Yi Mo just killed shadowless vultures, and Zhen Bingyu just controlled the stamp. 3 days later, Yi Mo said, "Brother Cha, it's safe now, but I suggest you go to level 1 or level 3 for trial. Even if you stay at level 2, don't stay near here." Cha Qiong knew the two were about to leave, so he got up and saluted with his fists. Qian Bei, Wan Bei's life was saved by Qian Bei. If Qian Bei needs my help in the future, just send a message to Extreme Wind Heaven's Luo Mo Immortal City's Cha family. I swear I will never mention anything about Qian Bei. If I go against my oath, the heavens and earth will annihilate me. I will die to divine damnation. Yi Mo smiled. This is a coincidence. If I go to Luo Mo Immortal City in the future, I will definitely come visit. Yi Mo was quite happy with Cha Qiong making the oath proactively. Cha Qiong nodded and left the rainbow stamp. Now, Zhen Bingyu asked, "Where do we go?" "Level 3, you go find a place for Nirvana. I have to reach Abstruse Immortal. Otherwise, my power is too weak," Yi Mo said. Zhen Bingyu was speechless. Cultivate to Abstruse Immortal. Such words made people want to puke blood. Zhen Bingyu didn't ask much, and just took out a storage ring and gave it to Yi Mo. "This is that great Unity Immortal storage ring. I didn't touch it, you can take it." Zhen Bingyu didn't ask much, and just took out a storage ring and gave it to Yi Mo. "This is that great Unity Immortal storage ring. I didn't touch it, you can take it." Yi Mo took it and looked at Zhen Bingyu in confusion. "Okay, I happen to need it, but don't worry, I won't let you lose out." After these few days, Zhen Bingyu knew that Yi Mo was more prideful than her. It looked like he didn't care, but he definitely wouldn't take advantage of someone. But if he didn't agree, no one could secretly take advantage of him. He would definitely get it back if he lost out on something. Was it the shadowless worm that helped you devour the great Unity Immortal Essence Spirit? Zhen Bingyu asked, "You know of shadowless worm?" Yi Mo asked instead. He knew he couldn't hide this from her, and she seemed to know a lot too. Now that she asked this, Yi Mo immediately wanted to ask if she knew of shadowless origin. Zhen Bingyu nodded. "That's right, I indeed know its origin. Almost everyone knows of it, but rarely does anyone know what it is exactly. It's not a spirit bug nor immortal spirit bug, it's a type of god beast." "You're saying my bug is a god beast?" Yi Mo looked dazedly at Chun Bingyu. Shadowless was only the size of a pea. It had nothing to do with a god beast. Chun Bingyu didn't feel it was funny, and kept saying, "It's not only a god beast, but it's also a part of the dragon race. I don't know exactly which branch, but it's extremely small and hard for it to progress. Thus, they couldn't stay in the dragon race, and was considered a difference race. They were cast out of the dragon race because they were too weak and couldn't survive at other places. Just when they were about to be annihilated, a member of the dragon race secretly sent down the last tens of pairs of shadowless worm eggs to the mortal realm." You're saying that when the tens of pairs of shadowless worms in the mortal realm disappear, then the shadowless bug would be extinct? Yi Mo asked. That's right. A few pairs of shadowless worms have been brought to the cultivation realm from the mortal realm. Although it can dominate the cultivation realm, and no spirit bug is a match for it. In the immortal realm, it's completely ordinary because no one can pay the price for shadowless worms to evolve, Chun Bingyu said. Do you know what level my shadowless bug is? Yi Mo quickly asked. Chun Bingyu shook her head. If I'm not wrong, it's still at the infant stage. It hasn't evolved yet. What? Yi Mo looked at Chun Bingyu in shock. He had been giving shadowless extreme grade spirit stones and extreme grade spirit ranges, essence spirit, and evil spirits, all he could eat. It even slept near the bitter bamboo. Even in the immortal realm, it had great conditions. How come it still hadn't evolved yet? He clearly saw shadowless change colors a few times. But since yours can hold out against a great unity immortal, it clearly has been living well. Shadowless worms can devour everything. It's said a mature one can devour an entire realm, Chun Bingyu said. Then if it's that strong, why was it kicked out of dragon race? Yi Mo asked. Because that's only in theory. In fact, no shadowless worm has ever reached such a level, and it's impossible for it to reach such a level. Shadowless worms have 5 levels. Before evolving, they're called spirit worms. That's level 1. When it reaches level 2, it's called Heaven Tao. Level 3 is Immortal Tao. Level 4 is God Tao. The dragon race is a god beast, but not all dragon race descendants can be god beasts. If shadowless worm can reach God Tao, it would belong amongst the god beasts. Level 5 is Divine Tao. It can devour anything. By then, even divine body immortals wouldn't be able to suppress it, Chun Bingyu answered. Thank you. Yi Mo finally understand what the saying, not spirit bug, not immortal meant. Yi Mo had decided to think of a way to let shadowless reach God Tao. Then he would take him to the dragon race and slap their face. But if shadowless didn't work hard himself, then never mind. Thank you for saving me once, Chun Bingyu said. It's nothing. If you didn't believe, I wouldn't drag you out. I can only say you saved yourself. Plus your flying magic artifact is faster than mine. We could come out partially due to you. Yi Mo waved his hand. Chun Bingyu asked what happened at the corner soul domain. How did you know? Why can't you take that corner soul mushroom? Hearing this, Yi Mo's face went serious. He fell into silence for a moment and said, if I'm not wrong, that corner soul domain is probably Wushuang Immortal Emperor's Sea of Consciousness. What? Chun Bingyu was astonished and asked, how do you know? Yi Mo shook his head but didn't answer. How did he know? Of course, from the corner soul mushroom. It contained an intense desire and spirit sense Tao will. That spirit sense Tao will demanded Yi Mo to refine it. Yi Mo noticed it immediately and had a bad feeling. When he checked the mushroom again, he had a new feeling, and that was it was born from a sea of consciousness. It existed so that one day when it was ripe, they could be used to repair sea of consciousness with the essence blood of the cultivator who refined it. Originally, Yi Mo thought that palace was the sea of consciousness, but when he left it, he immediately felt that the entire corner soul domain was probably the sea of consciousness. The reason he had such an intense feeling was because the owner of the sea of consciousness, like him, also used large amounts of corner soul weeds to refine his spirit sense. That feeling was crystal clear, but Yi Mo felt he couldn't explain it to Zhen Bingyu. Thinking about when people found corner soul weeds here, Yi Mo was certain that these corner soul weeds were left behind by the owner of the Sea of Consciousness to use for repair. However, because they were taken away, the owner could only use corner soul mushrooms and the essence blood of immortals to repair his Sea of Consciousness. Only people who had used corner soul weeds for a long time could sense that the corner soul domain was a Sea of Consciousness, and Yi Mo was one such person. But of course that was just his guess when he left the corner soul domain and saw it shrink. He knew his guess was right, that Wushuang Immortal Emperor might still exist, and his Sea of Consciousness was still under repair. Even if he wanted revenge against Wei Feng Immortal Emperor, he would probably need countless years. However, Yi Mo didn't plan to spill this. What happened here would draw a lot of powerful beings over. It was best to leave as far as possible. Yi Mo opened the Great Unity Immortal Storage Ring. There were 5 million top-grade immortal crystals and quite some level 3 immortal pills. There weren't many level 4 immortal pills, but there were quite some level 4 and level 5 immortal spirit herbs, and a large pile of forgery materials. Yi Mo took half of the immortal crystals, immortal spirit herbs, and materials. He didn't take any of the rest and gave the storage ring to Zhen Bingyu. "You're giving all this to me?" Zhen Bingyu took the storage ring and scanned her spirit sense in, finding all the things left. Yi Mo didn't even take a single one of the magic artifacts, not even that tower. "You're giving all this to me?" Zhen Bingyu took the storage ring and scanned her spirit sense in, finding all the things left. Yi Mo didn't even take a single one of the magic artifacts, not even that tower. "That's right, it's all yours. If it wasn't for you, I would be losing quite a bit." Yi Mo nodded and added, "I suggest you secretly auction off those magic artifacts. Who knows where that guy is from?" "Thank you." Zhen Bingyu took the storage ring without hesitation. Because Zhen Bingyu didn't know how far level 3 was, the two could only fly on the rainbow stamp. Yi Mo couldn't rest. The formations on here couldn't stop this shadowless vulture at all. He had to sit at the front to ensure safety. Half a year later, Yi Mo found his cultivation level didn't increase, but his spirit sense increased instead. It seemed one didn't need to go to a certain place to cultivate spirit sense. 2 months later, the rainbow stamp stopped at a barrier-like place. The only difference from level 1 was that there was no cultivators here, nor any markets. It's very far indeed. Yi Mo breathed easy after arriving here. He had the feeling that some powerful being had entered level 2 already. Zhen Bingyu argued and said, "We spent a very short time because you don't fear shadowless vultures. My master took 400 years to reach level 3 from level 2 when she came. Although she spent most of the time cultivating, this distance isn't short. There isn't just this one entrance from level 2 to level 3. This one is rather far off, but it's suitable for us." After tearing open the entrance, Yi Mo felt he was in a bluish world. There aren't only space whirlpools on the ground, but also in the air at level 3. And the shadowless vultures here have reached level 3 immortal beasts. We need to be careful. When my master came here, she was Great Unity Immortal Tertiary Stage already, Zhen Bingyu reminded him. Yi Mo's spirit sense had already seen this, and he scanned her. "You spoke of that immortal spirit herb mountain because you knew I couldn't go right," Zhen Bingyu said. "Of course I will take you there, but if you can't go, then it's not my fault." Yi Mo smiled. "Don't worry, I will definitely go." According to her plan, she was going to spend a few hundred years cultivating at level 1 and level 2 before coming to level 3. But with Yi Mo, she only spent a few years and was already at level 3. "I'm going to break through to abstruse immortal. You go choose a place for nirvana." Yi Mo was annoyed that he wasted a year's time on the journey. His time was very precious. 1 year equaled 100 years of cultivation for him. Ice Extreme Floating Mountain This was where Zhen Bingyu chose. She originally planned to reach Nirvana at the Flame Forest, but now that Yi Mo wanted to come to level 3, she could only choose this place. It was an obscure shade of blue outside the floating mountain, and one couldn't scan spirit sense in it all. When Yi Mo and Zhen Bingyu went in, they saw that this place was full of ice mountains floating in the air with dull, white rays of light. Between the mountains was icy mist that had almost frozen. Before the two went into the depths of the place, the bone-chilling frigidness came over. Yi Mo subconsciously shivered. This was indeed a good body refinement place. Yi Mo nodded. With Zhen Bingyu's character, it might be better to reach Nirvana here than at the Fire Forest. Yi Mo was an immortal Nirvana body, so of course he didn't fear the cold here. Despite the cold being able to instantly turn metal into nothing, Zhen Bingyu was God State primary stage, so she felt no pressure here at all. As the two went deeper, the place grew colder. 3 days later, Zhen Bingyu couldn't handle it anymore. Her clothes froze and turned to nothing. All that covered her body was that thin layer of Heaven Meridian worm silk armor. Yi Mo saw her naked body again. "I'll reach Nirvana here." Zhen Bingyu stopped and took out a communication bead for Yi Mo. "If there's anything, we'll use this to communicate." Yi Mo scanned her almost naked body, while thinking whether he should let Susu and them practice body refinement when they came up to the immortal realm. Zhen Bingyu was only God State primary stage, but her figure was perfect to such an extent. "If you've seen enough, then please go." Zhen Bingyu's tone grew colder. If possible, she didn't want Yi Mo to see her naked anymore. Just as Yi Mo said, flesh and bones were still her flesh and bones. Yi Mo felt his nose and took the communication bead before taking out a storage ring and giving it to her. "There's a small branch of chaos blue reed in here. When I cultivate, I'm going to set up a formation. Don't come to me so easily. If there's anything, we can use the communication bead." To be honest, he also felt a little weird talking to the almost naked Zhen Bingyu. "Thank you." Zhen Bingyu took the storage ring and said no more. Yi Mo knew this was her signaling him to leave. He didn't stay here and quickly went into the depths. Yi Mo didn't plan to practice body refinement here. He was planning to go into solitary cultivation and reach abstruse immortal. He didn't go very far. After about 6 minutes, he stopped and found an icy mountain that was on the ground and went inside. Yi Mo then set up a stealth formation and a sensory formation and placed the communication bead on the sensory formation before going into the Golden Page world. He didn't know how long he had to go into solitary cultivation for. If Zhen Bingyu finished early, she probably wouldn't be able to find him. By placing the communication bead on the formation, he would be able to receive her message even inside the Golden Page world. Inside the Golden Page world, Yi Mo set up a spirit-gathering formation with immortal crystals next to the bitter bamboo, and then set up the time formation disc. Then, Yi Mo didn't go into cultivation immediately. He needed to concoct the snow wing pill before that. He knew his talent. If he didn't have large sums of pills, it would be very hard for him to progress. If he used too many pills and didn't have snow wing pills to mediate the pill poison, his power would stop growing. Yi Mo spent only a few years in the time formation disc and concocted the snow wing pill successfully. A month later, Yi Mo concocted 10 cauldrons of snow-winged pills and prepared large amounts of abstruse essence pills before going into solitary cultivation. He had used up all the level 4 and level 5 immortal spirit herbs on him, except for some 6-winged purple radishes. This was his most prepared solitary cultivation ever, and the solitary cultivation with the most abundant time. As he used the 3-birth chant, large amounts of immortal spirit chi in the immortal crystals were devoured by Yi Mo. They soon formed an immortal spirit chi mist around the bitter bamboo. Even the bitter bamboo seemed extra lush inside this mist, and the small sapling far away also seemed more joyful due to this. shadowless, hid inside a bitter bamboo leaf, sleeping with his feet in the air. Cultivation was really timeless. In this lifeless mountain range, everything was stagnant except for time. As the top-grade immortal crystals were being used, Yimo's power also rose slowly. When he used up the last top-grade immortal crystal, the time formation disk stopped, and Yimo opened his eyes. He was a little disappointed, however. Other than the few hundred immortal crystals he saved for the time formation disk, he had used up nearly 10 million immortal crystals, yet he cultivated for less than 400 years in the time formation disk. The amount of immortal crystals he used multiplied with the increase of his cultivation level. Just many immortal crystals would he need to reach Immortal Emperor? It couldn't even be counted in units of hundreds of millions. For years had passed outside, and he only reached from Golden Immortal Middle Stage to Tertiary Stage. There was still a huge distance to Golden Immortal Peak Stage. Yimo looked at Jun Bingyu's communication bead. There was no message, so he put away the time formation disk and brought over all the materials he had collected. He was preparing for forgery. Yimo looked at Jun Bingyu's communication bead. There was no message, so he put away the time formation disk and brought over all the materials he had collected. He was preparing for forgery. Luckily, despite his cultivation speed being slow, his forgery and pill concoction speed weren't. Half a year later, he could begin to forge level 4 immortal artifacts. A year later, he could forge level 4 immortal artifacts with ease. It was a pity he had too few level 5 materials, or he would even start to forge level 5 immortal artifacts. As soon as he could forge level 4 immortal artifacts, Yimo took out Blue Moon and upgraded it. Flying magic artifacts used little materials, but Yimo didn't worry. He had large sums of shadowless vulturemane feathers. These were the best materials for forging flying magic artifacts. This time, Yimo didn't waste them like before. He took out 2 pairs of mane feathers and fused them into Blue Moon, bringing Blue Moon to a middle-grade flying immortal artifact. Although it was the lowest caliber among middle-grade flying immortal artifacts, Yimo was very happy. He felt his Blue Moon wouldn't be slower than ordinary level 5 flying immortal artifacts. It was too important for Yimo to have a middle-grade flying immortal artifact. He kept using Jun Bingyu's rainbow stamp before, and it was only a little faster than his Blue Moon, while its defensive capabilities were extremely bad. Now that he had his own middle-grade flying immortal artifact, he didn't need to use that woman's flying magic artifact. Yimo really wanted to upgrade Zissou, but he didn't have better materials, so he could only give up. Zissou was his favorite magic artifact, and quite possibly would stay with him forever. Without good materials, he wouldn't ruin Zissou. Yimo knew his offensive magic artifact was too lacking, and this affected his fighting quite a bit. In order to have a suitable attack magic artifact, Yimo thought of all the possibilities, and this time he set his eyes on the black rock on the World Mountain. Yimo brought this black rock into Golden Page World with bitter bamboo. He dug this rock off the World Mountain when he found it, but it was very heavy, so Yimo didn't touch it. Thinking about this, Yimo immediately jumped next to the rock that sunk into the earth. When he looked at it again, it had already sunk very deep into the ground. Before he was only a nascent soul state cultivator and couldn't even pick it up. Now he was Golden Immortal Tertiary Stage. That rock shouldn't be too much trouble. Yimo waved his wand, wanting to lift the rock up, but he found he couldn't lift it up. Thus, Yimo could only go down and grab the rock. What confused him more was that this rock was getting heavier and heavier. When he was nascent soul state, he could move it barely by burning essence blood, but now he still needed to burn essence blood to move it. Just what was it? The World Mountain's rock? Was this heavy? He thought of the time when he was at the top of the World Mountain. He could only cut off a small piece next to the bitter bamboo. He realized later he could do that because the bitter bamboo recognized him as its master. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to cut it open. Without the bitter bamboo, the rock became extremely heavy again. Yi Mo released mist lotus heart fire and burned the rock, but it didn't move at all. His heaven flame was more than 10 times stronger than before. Thus, it was obvious that the world mountain was countless times harder after leaving the bitter bamboo. Yi Mo wasn't that insolent small cultivator from before. He immediately knew there was this invaluable treasure in his golden page world. In his joy, Yi Mo used all his effort to move the black rock to the ground and immediately spat a mouthful of essence blood out to try and refine it. Yi Mo thought if he didn't try to forge the rock into a magic artifact and just tried to refine it, it shouldn't be too hard, but when he tried it, he realized just how hard it was. A month later, he found he hadn't even refined 1% of it. Yi Mo could only take out the time formation disk again and spent a whole 5 years inside before completely refining the rock. 5 years just to refine a rock. Yi Mo was speechless. He put away the time formation disk and looked at it happily. This world rock was light as a feather in his hand now. The only thing he didn't like was that it looked like a rock on the side of a scale, not aesthetic at all. Other people had towers and seals, but he had kitchen knives and weighing stones. Yi Mo put away the things and immediately came out of the Golden Page world. He had spent nearly 7 years on forgery in the Golden Page world and wondered if Shen Bingyu had reached nirvana. Yi Mo didn't go find Shen Bingyu immediately. He instead released his world rock and smashed it at a huge ice peak. Rumble, a terrifying explosion sounded, and Yi Mo looked dazedly at the mountain that had now turned into a rain of ice shards. He just casually released the stone, and it was this powerful. If he inserted a mortal essence into it and let it expand, then that power. Yi Mo didn't even dare to keep thinking. Didn't that mean he could easily kill an abstruse immortal tertiary stage and not be that much weaker than a great immortal? Realizing this, Yi Mo was overjoyed. He immediately put away the stone and cursed himself for being an idiot. He had such a good thing in his Golden Page world, and he wasted it for all these years. If he had the stone before, he wouldn't be afraid of that Han Wei-Chen at all. Yi Mo took a deep breath and put this treasure away carefully. He would rely on this the next time. Compared to slicing things into bloody mist, Yi Mo preferred to smash things to pieces. It's time to see that ice woman. Yi Mo felt very satisfied. His cultivation speed was a little slow, but he reached Golden Immortal Tertiary stage. His forgery skills reached Immortal Forgery Great Master. He upgraded Blue Moon. And his pill concoction skills reached Level 5 Immortal Pill Great Master. Most importantly, he got this weighing stone. In less than 3 minutes, Yi Mo came back to where Shen Bingyu was. As soon as he saw her, he knew she was in trouble. She wasn't floating in the air like he was before. She was laying on the ice mountain. There were no more clothes on her body. However, her skin was pale and her eyes tightly shut. There was blood on her chest. Clearly she failed nirvana and had experienced a heavy backlash. Yi Mo immediately carried her up. He felt her body was cold, but luckily the body refinement cultivation method was still running on its own. But this wasn't because she was cultivating, this was just keeping her alive. If it stopped, Shen Bingyu would immediately be turned to nothing by this terrifying frost. Yi Mo took her away from here immediately and put multiple pills in her mouth before using a few cleaning spells and taking out a set of clothes from her storage ring. But Yi Mo hadn't put on such clothes before and had quite some trouble. At this moment, Shen Bingyu woke up and looked weakly at Yi Mo, saying thank you before shutting her eyes again. Yi Mo breathed easy. As long as she could talk, she would be able to recover quickly. How dare you, you shameless bastard. I'm going to kill you. A roar sounded, and a rainbow lighting loomed over at Yi Mo. The ferocious killing intent rushed at Yi Mo. How could Yi Mo help Shen Bingyu dress? He released Sisu and hacked over. Crack, purple, and rainbow colors splashed, illuminating the dull, obscure surroundings. The female immortal was shook and studied Yemo. She didn't understand how a golden immortal primary stage had the ability to stop the magic artifact of an abstruse immortal middle stage. Yemo's face went cold. He was ambushed for no reason. This woman looked as good as Qin Yanmei, but she attacked him for no reason. If it was someone else, he would already be dead. You hid your power. The red-robed woman frowned. Yemo said coldly, "Now isn't the time to be asking about my power. Did I offend you? Why did you attack me for no reason?" Chapter 1606, Nirvana Failure. Chapter 1606, Nirvana Failure. This is too funny. Ambush you? You're a mere golden immortal. Do you deserve my ambush? Shameless bastard, die. The red-robed woman released her flying sword. Yemo sneered and released his lethal weapon, the big weighing stone. This time, Yemo smashed down with immortal essence inserted in it. The world rock instantly turned into a terrifying black mountain, suppressing all the space nearby. Feeling the boundless pressure around her, the female cultivator's FCE changed. What magic artifact was this? The threat of death came, and the red-robed female cultivator couldn't care about anything else. She knew that if she didn't run, she wouldn't be able to dodge that black mountain. The huge mountain also had a terrifying pressure with it, as though binding all the space around her. No matter if Yemo hid his power or not, she was no match. Thinking about this, she released her 5-color sword and an umbrella-shaped defense magic artifact. With these 2 magic artifacts stopping the peak, she barely flew back. Crack! The female cultivator saw her sword and umbrella turn into pieces and couldn't hold in the shock inside her anymore. She released an instant transmission rune without hesitation and disappeared. So powerful. Yemo put the world rock back in his hands and murmured. After being inserted with immortal essence, the rock was this powerful. It easily smashed 2 good quality low-grade immortal artifacts. Just a 20-centimeter rock was this powerful. If a powerful being could control the entire world mountain, then Yemo shivered. He didn't dare to imagine. If someone's spirit controlled the world mountain, who in this world would be a match for him? If the world mountain was released, even a realm would be smashed to pieces. When he took the bitter bamboo at the Truthfall Palace Forbidden Grounds, the world mountain flew off somewhere. Yemo prayed that no one saw the world mountain. Otherwise, even if he reached divine body, he wouldn't be able to stop it. If the world mountain was taken by his opponent, there would be nothing he could do. Luckily, one needed to be extremely powerful to control it. With his current state, he might not be able to control the world mountain even after trying for a few 100 million years. Casting these thoughts aside, Yemo put away the world rock and wanted to see how Zhen Bingyu was. But he saw her open her eyes and say feebly, "Please send me to Extreme Sword Sect. My master will pay you." Then she was about to pass out again. Yemo looked at her helplessly. He couldn't leave her here, but it was hard for him to send her back to Extreme Sword Sect. "Is there some other way to treat you? If possible, tell me. I will try to help you," Yemo said. Zhen Bingyu replied with a coarse voice, "My nirvana failed. My meridians are turning hollow. My spirit roots are going to dissolve, and my essence spirit is about to dissipate. Send me to my master." Yemo was shook. If it was some ordinary injury, Yemo believed he would be able to deal with it. But the hollowing of meridians and dissolving of spirit roots wasn't something he could help with. Chaos Blue Reed is the best nirvana immortal spirit herb. How did you fail? Plus, we're cultivating the same cultivation method. Yemo put a level 5 immortal pill, Jiqiong pill, in her mouth and asked. The pill melted immediately and gave Zhen Bingyu some extra life force. She coughed and said, "I used too little of the Chaos Blue Reed, and my nirvana didn't complete. There's a jade slip map in my storage ring." Then she fell unconscious again. Yemo heard this and felt guilty. They said they would split the chaos blue reed evenly, but in the end she only took a small branch, and because of this her nirvana failed. Yi Mo felt he got the chaos blue reed alone, so he didn't mind, but now that something happened, he felt he needed to be responsible. Yi Mo released Blue Moon and carried Zhen Bingyu onto it before taking her storage ring. He looked inside. The contents were very simple. There were just some pills, jade slips, magic artifacts, and a pile of blue robes. They were all the same color and style. There was no pretty goddess dress or accessories. He found a jade slip and scanned his spirit sense inside. It introduced clearly the first 4 levels of the Chaos Star Realm. It seemed her master gave her this, but there was nothing else after level 4. With Zhen Bingyu like this, Yi Mo didn't have the mood to find a place to cultivate. He wanted to find that immortal spirit herb mountain at level 4, and then see if he could send her back to Extreme Sword Sect. Although he didn't want to go back there, he couldn't take her around everywhere. Thinking about things carefully, Yi Mo decided to go to level 4. After he left here, he might not come back again. Even if he did, it would be after his power reached a certain level. Otherwise, if Lu Xingchuan calculated that he was in here, it would be over. Plus, Yi Mo also wanted to go to the Immortal Spirit Herb Mountain to collect some level 6 Immortal Spirit Herbs and reach level 6 Immortal Pill Great Master. Then he would be able to concoct the Dual Spirit Pill. He wanted to do that mainly for Zhen Bingyu. She didn't abandon him when he was unconscious. Just because of that, he was going to send her back to Extreme Sword Sect and try his best to help her. Thus, Yi Mo brought Blue Moon to fly towards level 4. He knew his Blue Moon would definitely be much faster than the Rainbow Stamp after being upgraded, but he didn't expect it to be this much faster. On top of that, upgrading Blue Moon with Shadowless Vulture also gave it some stealth attributes. If he activated the stealth formation, Blue Moon was like a weaker version of the Shadowless Vulture. Zhen Bingyu stayed in Blue Moon and woke up occasionally, but most of the time she was unconscious. Half a year later, Yi Mo could kill Shadowless Vultures on Blue Moon easily without sensing with Spirit Sense Domain. He had killed more and more Shadowless Vultures on the way, and eventually they seemed to learn he was powerful and didn't dare to ambush Yi Mo anymore. This made Yi Mo a little annoyed. Without them, he would lose a big source of income. On the way, Yi Mo encountered some abstruse immortals, and occasionally even great Unity immortal cultivators, but none stopped him. No one dared to underestimate an immortal who flew in the air at full speed. Even a great extreme immortal didn't dare to fly at full speed here. 2 months later, Yi Mo stopped at the entrance to level 4. As soon as he got here, space shook violently. 2 abstruse immortal tertiary stages were fighting here. The 2 immediately stopped fighting when they saw Blue Moon dashing past over. But when Yi Mo landed, the 2 saw Yi Mo was only golden immortal tertiary stage. "Friend, how are you flying so fast in here?" a good-looking abstruse immortal asked, but he was rather polite and saluted with his fists. The other tall-figured person didn't say anything but looked at Yi Mo, clearly wanting to know too. Yi Mo was confused too. The 2 were just fighting with their lives, but now they were standing together as though they didn't fight before. Yi Mo got off Blue Moon and saluted with his fists. "I can kill Shadowless Vultures, so I can go very fast. May I ask if this is the entrance to level 4? The tall, skinny, abstruse immortal said, "That's right. This place is the entrance to level 4. You just said you can kill Shadowless Vultures. Is this true?" The tall, skinny, abstruse immortal said, "That's right. This place is the entrance to level 4. You just said you can kill Shadowless Vultures. Is this true?" There was a sliver of disbelief. Yi Mo being so polite to them probably meant that he wasn't a great immortal. So even if Yi Mo hid his power, he was at most an abstruse immortal. Plus, he was certain that Yi Mo was indeed golden immortal tertiary stage. That's right, Yi-Mo answered, thinking if the two had some high-level materials or immortal spirit herbs they could trade. Friend, do you sell your shadowless vulture materials? If you do, then I have some immortal crystals and immortal spirit herbs, the tall, skinny, abstruse, immortal immediately said. Yi-Mo nodded and took out 10 pairs of shadowless vultures he killed at level 2 and said, there are 10 pairs here. I only want level 5 or level 6 immortal spirit herbs or high-level forgery materials. It really is the shadowless vulture mane feather, the other good-looking abstruse immortal called out in shock. How do you want to exchange? I want it. Name a price, the tall, skinny cultivator quickly said, and took out a pile of immortal spirit herbs and materials. Yi-Mo looked at the pile and was a little disappointed. There was only one level 6 immortal spirit herb and mainly level 5 immortal spirit herbs. The forgery materials were mainly level 3, some level 4. It was far from what Yi-Mo wanted. That great Unity immortal storage ring had more things. Yi-Mo sighed. The two really couldn't compare. The other abstruse immortal also took out a pile of things that were about similar in value to this tall, skinny, abstruse immortal. Yi-Mo knew that the mane feathers and beast cores of shadowless vultures were very precious. He really didn't value these things. If it was before his blue moon was upgraded, he would exchange it. But now he knew the use of shadowless vulture mane feathers. He wouldn't need to set up stealth formations for blue moon to have stealth capabilities. How was this something ordinary materials could compare with? Friend, I know our materials aren't enough to swap for the mane feather of shadowless vulture, but I have a piece of news. If you think it's fine, then estimate the price, the good-looking abstruse immortal said. Yi-Mo nodded. Tell me about it. At level 3, there might be an immortal crystals mine. We're not certain, the abstruse immortal immediately said. Immortal crystals mine, Yi-Mo repeated in confusion, and then asked, if there was one, why don't you guys go and instead fight here? Immortal crystals mines were good things regardless of whether they were low grade or top grade. The tall, skinny, abstruse immortal quickly said, we're fighting over it because the news was sent over by our friend. They said they only had 3 people and didn't have enough, so they wanted us to go over. I want to go, but he wants to go to another place at level 4. We couldn't persuade each other, so we decided to fight it out and have the winner decide. It's indeed so, but if you're willing to trade shadowless vulture materials with us, I agree to go to the immortal crystals mine, the good-looking abstruse immortal said. Yi-Mo didn't suspect their words. The two were clearly fighting a heated battle, but now the two didn't seem to be wary against each other. Clearly, that meant they weren't fighting with their lives. How far is the mine from here? Yi-Mo asked again. If it really was an immortal crystals mine, Yi-Mo would like to go see. Immortal crystals were too important to him. Immortal crystals mines were just below immortal ranges. There was a myth about immortal crystals mines, and that was immortal crystals had to be dug out to be used, unlike immortal ranges, which could be used straight away. Yi-Mo only had a few hundred immortal crystals. Even a high-level hollow immortal was wealthier than him. He was golden immortal tertiary stage. If he wanted to reach abstruse immortal, it was impossible without immortal crystals. He had seen Zhen Bingyu's storage ring, and there were 3 million top-grade immortal crystals, but those didn't belong to him. Even if he used them all, he wouldn't be able to reach abstruse immortal. Plus, although Zhen Bingyu was unconscious, her body refinement cultivation method was birthed from the 3-birth chant, so it could run on its own. With his pills, she would survive for a few decades completely fine. It's not very far away. If you fly over, it only takes a day, but we need about 10 days, the tall, skinny cultivator answered while wondering if Yi-Mo was abstruse immortal middle stage or tertiary stage. Okay, give me all these materials, and I'll give each of you 3 pairs of mane feathers and 3 beast cores, Yi-Mo said. That's fine. The two immediately agreed. They only expected 2 sets. After the exchange, Yi-Mo let the two get on Blue Moon while they flew towards the so-called Immortal Crystals mine. After introductions, the two learned Yi-Mo's name, and Yi-Mo knew that the tall cultivator was called Jean Chuanlin, and the good-looking one was Kong Gang. Although Yi-Mo let them get on Blue Moon, he didn't let them go inside, since Zhen Bingyu was in there. Jean Chuanlin was right. In just a day, Yi-Mo arrived at the place they mentioned. As soon as Yi-Mo got off, he saw a narrow valley that extended into the distance. Yi-Mo's spirit sense seemed to be limited, so it couldn't scan to the end. "It's here?" Yi-Mo asked in confusion. The immortal spirit chi was lacking here. There shouldn't be an immortal crystals mine. "It's not here. We have to go through the valley for about a day to arrive. There seems to be some formation here or something, so we can't fly, we can only walk," Kong Gang said. Yi-Mo knew that people couldn't fly here indeed. He glanced at the two and asked, "You two have been here before?" "Yes, the 5 of us got an immortal crystals mine map, so we searched here for nearly 3 months with no results. Then Kong Gang, and I thought the map was fake, so we decided to head to level 4. The other 3 thought there was still an immortal crystals mine here, so they stayed. As soon as we got to the level 4 entrance, they sent news saying that they found it," Jean Chuanlin said. "Then you're saying that this mine might not exist? Or it's just possible that it exists?" Yi-Mo stared at Jean Chuanlin and asked. Kong Gang considered Yi-Mo to be abstruse immortal tertiary stage, and even a little stronger than them. So now that Yi-Mo asked, he quickly said, "Friend, you've misunderstood me. It's because the friend who sent the message isn't really reliable, and I don't really trust her words, so I wanted to keep going to level 4, but instead he wanted to come back and see." Yi-Mo nodded. "In that case, lead the way. I'll go see too." Then, Yi-Mo carried Zhen Bingyu off Blue Moon and onto his back before putting away Blue Moon. Only now did the two realize there was someone inside, Yi-Mo's magic artifact, and she was an extremely beautiful woman. She seemed to be heavily injured, and her chi was almost non-existent. But the two didn't ask Yi-Mo anything. After leading the way for a while, Yi-Mo was impatient. He felt the speed was too slow. He knew that they weren't doing this on purpose and were afraid of getting caught in the void whirlpool, but Yi-Mo still said, "Brother Jean, how about let me go ahead?" As soon as Yi-Mo said this, Jean Chuanlin understood what Yi-Mo meant and moved to the side awkwardly. "Brother Yi, you're stronger than me, so it's best that you go ahead." Yi-Mo didn't mind. His time was precious. Yi-Mo didn't worry about the void whirlpools, as his spirit sense domain could long sense them beforehand. So with him leading the way, the 3 immediately sped up. Jean Chuanlin and Kong Gang glanced at each other, and there was some concern in their eyes. They didn't know where Yi-Mo came from. Not only was he unafraid of shadowless vultures, but he could also sense void whirlpools. Jean Chuanlin and Kong Gang glanced at each other, and there was some concern in their eyes. They didn't know where Yi-Mo came from. Not only was he unafraid of shadowless vultures, but he could also sense void whirlpools. Under Yi-Mo's lead, they arrived at a crossroad in half a day. Yi-Mo scanned his spirit sense and saw the 3 people in the depths of the crossroad. They were all abstruse immortal power, 2 abstruse immortal tertiary stage, and 1 abstruse immortal middle stage peak. There was a huge cave in front of them that had been excavated. This cave was on the side of a cliff, and Yi-Mo scanned that there were indeed some immortal crystals inside. They seemed to be low grade and middle grade. Marshall Brother Jean, how did you guys get here so quick? Who is he? One rather fiery-looking abstruse immortal female cultivator walked up to the 3 and asked. Yi-Mo was just golden immortal tertiary stage and carried a heavily injured woman on his back. Why was he brought here? She immediately saw the woman's appearance. She was some out-of-this-world beauty. If it wasn't that both of them weren't lustful, She would have even thought that Yemo was forced over by them. One gray-robed man exclaimed in shock. His eyes landed on Jin Bingyu, clearly shocked by her beauty. Yemo could tell this cultivator was no good person. Jin Chuanlin and Kong Gang both saw Jin Bingyu but stopped looking after the initial shock, but this male cultivator couldn't take his eyes off Jin Bingyu. Yemo sneered but said nothing. This gray-robed man was abstruse immortal tertiary stage. With his world rock, he didn't fear him at all. Feng Guanglong, this is Brother Yi and his Dao partner. Kong Gang saw what happened, and immediately knew Yemo was unhappy, so he came out to warn him. Then he pointed at the abstruse immortal tertiary stage female cultivator and said, "This is Martial's sister Hurong. The other person is Chun Pei." Chun Pei was an honest-looking male cultivator who never spoke. "Martial Brother Jean, how did you guys come here so quickly?" Hurong asked. Jean Chuanlin quickly said, "Martial Brother Ye's flying cultivation artifact can defend against shadowless vultures, so we got here quickly." He didn't say Yemo could kill shadowless vultures because otherwise everyone would want to trade for them. He would wait after Yemo left and take out a pair of materials to trade. That way he would earn more. There's such a flying magic artifact. Hurong looked at Yemo in shock, and so did the others. Feng Guanglong's eyes flashed with surprise and joy. Yemo was a mere golden immortal tertiary stage, but not only had such a beautiful woman, but also a flying magic artifact that could defend against shadowless vultures. How was this something a golden immortal deserved to have? Brother Feng, didn't you call us to here? Because you already found the immortal crystal's cave? How come I don't sense any immortal spirit chi? Did you guys just scatter the immortal crystal shards on the ground yourselves? Kong Gang frowned and asked. Feng Guanglong frowned and waved his hand. Brother Kong, don't worry about that yet. I'll come and greet this Martial Brother Yi. Kong Gang could tell that Feng Guanglong was interested in Yemo's flying magic artifact and his woman. So before he could speak to Yemo, Kong Gang's face sunk. Brother Feng, this Brother Yi is my friend. We're here to search for the immortal crystal's mine together. Search for the immortal crystal's mine together? Hurong asked. The immortal crystal's mine was very valuable. Why did the two bring a golden immortal cultivator to help? And this golden immortal carried a heavily injured person. Chun Pei said nothing, but Feng Guanglong walked up to Yemo and casually saluted with his fists. Martial Brother Yi, is your Dao partner injured? It's none of your business, Yemo replied coldly. Feng Guanglong smiled. You don't really know me. I'm friends with Kong Gang, and we're similar in character. I like making friends too. So since you can get along with Kong Gang, we can definitely get along too. As soon as Feng Guanglong said this, Hurong and Chun Pei knew what he meant, but none of them said anything. Kong Gang wanted to say something, but Jin Chuanlin signaled him not to. Yemo acted as though Feng Guanglong was non-existent. Feng Guanglong didn't stop there and continued. Martial Brother Yi, I have some experience in treating internal injuries. How about give your Dao partner to me, and I'll see if I can help? Fuck off. Yemo roared. Hearing this, everyone looked at Yemo in shock, not expecting him to be this straightforward. Just when Feng Guanglong was about to rage, he saw Zhen Bingyu open her eyes. That extremely beautiful face made him daze, and his fury was gone. He smiled instead. Never mind, then. I just wanted to help. Seeing that Feng Guanglong didn't attack, Kong Gang quickly said, Martial sister Hurong, what happened with the immortal crystals mine? Is there one or not? If not, we're going to leave. Hurong was surprised that Feng Guanglong didn't attack Yemo, but then she thought he was concerned due to Kong Gang and Jin Chuanlin. She quickly said, We already found the right place. We're more than 50% certain it's the entrance to the immortal crystals mine. So, you threw some immortal crystals on the ground to draw us here? Jin Chuanlin asked. The news he got from her before was that it was 100% here. We really didn't throw down the immortal crystals intentionally, Hu Rong said helplessly. This time, Yi Mo said, she's right, they didn't throw down the immortal crystals intentionally. They fell out when they excavated this cave. Yi Mo's spirit sense had scanned deep into the cave. The rocks here were extremely tough, and even spirit sense couldn't penetrate deeper. Really? Jean Chuanlin felt Yi Mo was more credible. There are immortal crystal shards on the walls, Hu Rong quickly said. Jean Si Huanlin saw this too and nodded. So that's it? In that case, there really might be an immortal crystals cave here. Yi Mo sneered. These immortal crystal shards are remnants from a formation. They have nothing to do with an immortal crystal's mine. Hu Rong clearly knew this already and was shook by Yi Mo's insight. Is that so? Hu Rong goddess? Jean Chuanlin didn't even call her martial sister this time. Hu Rong quickly said, no, listen to me. After we dug into the cave, we found a barrier restriction. It's very powerful, and we can't break in quickly. So we invited you guys. We're guessing that after breaking this restriction, we can arrive at the immortal crystal's mine. Yi Mo scanned his spirit sense in, and indeed saw a barrier restriction. With this, Yi Mo really believed her. The intention of this restriction was clear, to stop the immortal spirit chi from floating out. Then let's go see. Jean Chuanlin nodded and went into the cave. Yi Mo and them followed. After looking at the restriction, Jean Chuanlin sneered. I was wondering why you were so nice, remembering us when there was an immortal crystals cave. This restriction isn't so easily broken. Although I'm a level 1 immortal formation master, I can't do anything about this. Sorry to disappoint you, martial sister Hu Rong. Hearing this, Hu Rong quickly said, Martial brother Jean, what are you on about? This restriction can be broken with brute force. If we work together, we can succeed. Chun Pei suddenly said, Martial sister Hu Rong is right. If we work together, we can indeed break this restriction. Chun Pei suddenly said, Martial sister Hu Rong is right. If we work together, we can indeed break this restriction. This person hadn't spoken before, but Yi Mo had long noticed this person. He looked very ordinary, but there was a bleak chi around him. Ordinary cultivators really wouldn't be able to sense it, but Yi Mo sensed it immediately. This made Yi Mo not have a good impression of him, but Yi Mo agreed with what he said. Even Yi Mo wouldn't be able to break this restriction alone. This was at least level 5 or above. Even if the 5 attacked together, they would need a few days. One less person and the time taken would multiply, but Yi Mo felt that with him it wouldn't take that long. He just needed to smash down with his world rock. Wait, I see it. Jean Chuanlin suddenly pointed at a corner. What do you see? Hu Rong asked. Jean Chuanlin said excitedly, This restriction is broken. We just have to attack from this broken formation flag, and we might be able to break it in less than 30 minutes. When Jean Chuanlin said this, Yi Mo noticed it too. He quite approved of Jean Chuanlin now. It wasn't easy for a level 1 immortal formation master to find that. There was a sliver of pity in Hu Rong's eyes. If she knew things were like this, she wouldn't have called them over, but then she immediately said joyfully, Then let's hurry up and attack the restriction. I want to know if there's something inside too. I'll do it. Chun Pei released his magic artifact and smashed on the restriction. Seeing this, everyone released their magic artifacts. Yi Mo knew that this restriction would be broken in less than 15 minutes, so he didn't bother using his world rock. Yi Mo was just golden immortal tertiary stage and didn't attack. He was carrying someone on him, so the other 5 didn't let Yi Mo help. In less than 15 minutes the restriction cracked, and with a few more attacks, it cracked down in front of them, revealing a huge stone hall. Its broken Kong gang stared at the hall in disbelief, as though not believing it was this easily broken. There was nothing in this stone hall, just 3 cave entrances. Neither spirit sense nor eyes could see what was in there. There are 3 caves here. What do we do? Chunpei asked. Everyone looked at Hu Rong. Clearly she had some status here. Hu Rong fell silent for a while and said, I suggest we go in the 3 holes at the same time. We can divide into 3 teams. Everyone agreed to this immediately. And at this moment Jin Bingyu whispered at Yi Mo's ear, What place is this? Yi Mo said awkwardly, This is level 3. I'm here to search for an immortal crystal's mine. It won't waste much time, don't worry. Shun Bingyu was heavily injured. He didn't take her back to her sect quickly, and instead came to find immortal crystals, so he was a bit embarrassed. Oh. Shun Bingyu said no more. Feng Guanglong said, We'll do this. Martial sister Hu Rong go with brother Qin, brother Kong, and brother Jin go together. I'll go with martial brother Yi. No one said a thing hearing this. Clearly they knew what he meant. This guy wanted to kill Yi Mo and take his flying magic artifact and his woman. Just when Kong Gang wanted to say something, Yi Mo simply said, Okay. Hu Rong, who was going to object, saw that even Yi Mo agreed, so she said nothing. She didn't want to agree, not because she was looking out for Yi Mo, but since she also wanted Yi Mo's flying magic artifact. In that case, let's begin. I choose the left hole, Feng Guanglong immediately said. Then he smiled to Yi Mo, friend. Let's go. Seeing Yi Mo carry a woman and go into the same cave as Feng Guanglong, Kong Gang shook his head and said no more. Feng Guanglong crossed the line. He's taking everything himself, Hu Rong said coldly. Jin Chuanlin sneered. Taking everything himself? We don't know who will be the one doing the taking. Kong Gang, let's go. Then they went into the right cave, leaving the middle cave to Hu Rong. What does Jin Chuanlin mean? Hu Rong asked. Chunpei frowned for a while and said, I think he means that brother Yi isn't simple. Everyone knew what Feng Guanglong thought, and so did that Yi guy. Since he's still willing to go on the same team as him, it's probably because he's not scared of Feng Guanglong at all. Hu Rong also fell silent. Yi Mo never seemed to be scared or worried before. He told Feng Guanglong to fuck off too. He was probably not easy to mess with. Let's go in too. If we can't find anything, we'll go to Feng Guanglong's cave first, Hu Rong said. After Yi Mo followed Feng Guanglong into the cave, he said nothing. He knew Feng Guanglong wanted to kill him and take his things. Everyone else knew too. The cave was completely dark, but it was fine for Yi Mo and Feng Guanglong. Spirit sense was suppressed in here too, but one could still see in a 1,000-meter radius. After walking for about 4 hours, they came to an open place. There were some stone tables and chairs. There was also an illumination formation with faint light emitting. Feng Guanglong stopped. Martial brother Yi, let's rest here for a bit. Feng Guanglong smiled at Yi Mo. Yi Mo didn't say anything. He really didn't have the mood to waste time with this guy. Seeing Yi Mo not talk, Feng Guanglong didn't both acting anymore, and just said, Friend, I like your flying magic artifact. Name a price. If you give it to me for free, I'm willing to treat your Dao partner. Fuck off. Yi Mo roared. Feng Guanglong's face turned cold. You told me to fuck off outside, and I haven't done anything yet, but now you still dare to be cocky. I'll count to 3. Give me your flying magic artifact. And your Dao partner, Shun Bingyu, wasn't unconscious anymore, and she heard what Feng Guanglong said. She was speechless inside. This guy was asking for death. Yi Mo just threw out the world rock. Ever since he got the world rock, he only had one fight. He was itching to use it, and now that this Feng Guanglong challenged him, he immediately used it. The terrifying pressure from space came. Feng Guanglong didn't know what that expanding black rock was, but that immense pressure made him unable to control the horror in his heart. Yi Mo wasn't golden immortal tertiary stage. Feng Guanglong released a red fire, wanting to block the world rock. Rumble the world rock had already been activated, and Feng Guanglong could only release his golden drum in a rush. It was barely a middle-grade immortal artifact, but it wasn't even completely activated. He didn't expect Yi-Mo dared to attack first, and due to this he couldn't bring the situation back in his favor. Crack the golden drum cracked. Just one round of attacks, and Feng Guanglong's golden drum was shattered. Feng Guanglong was shook on the spot, and before he could understand what was going on, Yi-Mo's world rock smashed down once again. Just one round of attacks, and Feng Guanglong's golden drum was shattered. Feng Guanglong was shook on the spot, and before he could understand what was going on, Yi-Mo's world rock smashed down once again. "Don't! I have something to say," Feng Guanglong said in horror. Yi-Mo was contemptuous. This Feng Guanglong was weaker than the abstruse immortal middle stage he and Zhen Bingyu killed before. If the two had met, Feng Guanglong would be killed for sure, and yet he still dared to rob him. Feng Guanglong really overestimated himself. Thud, the world rock smashed on Feng Guanglong's body without hesitation. And even though he was abstruse immortal tertiary stage, he was smashed into a meat pancake. After putting away the world rock, Yi-Mo waved Feng Guanglong's storage ring over. There were only tens of thousands of top-grade immortal crystals inside, and some immortal spirit herbs. As an abstruse immortal tertiary stage, this guy was indeed quite poor. Yi-Mo thought that this guy probably only started trouble with low-level cultivators. Seeing Yi-Mo kill Feng Guanglong with one move, Zhen Bingyu knew that Yi-Mo's power increased a lot, and that rock that he suddenly had didn't seem ordinary. But then a wave of fatigue came. And although this time she didn't fall unconscious, she went to sleep. Yi-Mo knew Zhen Bingyu, went to sleep, and didn't talk to her. He knew she was too weak at this moment. Yi-Mo rapidly left this area and sped up. Half an hour later, Yi-Mo stopped. He appeared before a restriction that was sort of tattered. There was only some faint immortal spirit chi seeping out, but Yi-Mo was certain there were probably things inside. Yi-Mo smashed down with the world rock without hesitation. This restriction couldn't take a single hit and cracked completely. Dense immortal spirit chi seeped out. Yi-Mo immediately knew that Jin Chuanlin didn't trick him. There really was an immortal crystals mine here, and a top-grade one too. It was a pity he couldn't take away this immortal crystals mine. He could only dig in it. Yi-Mo took out his mansion cultivation artifact, and then sent Zhen Bingyu inside before starting to dig. There had never been an immortal who dug like Yi-Mo. While he was digging, he also used the three-birth chant to cultivate. Never had there been an immortal nirvana body cultivator who used a level 4 immortal artifact to dig. The advantage of a powerful body was fully showcased here. Stacks of top-grade immortal crystals were rapidly sent into the Golden Page world by Yi-Mo. Seeing so many immortal crystals being sent in constantly, Shadowless immediately knew that Yi-Mo encountered something good and asked to come out. Yi-Mo threw out Shadowless and let it go devour immortal crystals itself. He just needed to keep digging and send the immortal crystals in. A year later, Yi-Mo looked at the 50 million immortal crystals in his Golden Page world and finally stopped. He estimated there to be about 200 million immortal crystals in this mine, but he didn't want to waste time anymore. He felt this way of acquiring immortal crystals was too slow. He had no choice before, but when he was higher power, he wouldn't need to dig mines to get immortal crystals. A year later, none of them came. Yi-Mo knew that they probably found something similar, but he didn't know if they found immortal crystals mines or not. Yi-Mo didn't plan to go see either. He had decided to leave here and head towards level 4. After putting away Shadowless and picking Zhen Bingyu up on his back again, he completely hid this immortal crystals mine with a formation before leaving here. He was afraid that he might need to come back in the future in case he couldn't get immortal crystals. Yi-Mo left rapidly, but just when he was about to go, he stopped. He had a bad feeling, as though there was some danger waiting for him at the entrance. Yi Mo trusted his instincts. Cultivating the three-birth chant gave him this indescribable sense. This meant that there might be people ambushing him at the entrance. Yi Mo released a few spirit sense blades and saw there wasn't a formation outside, but a magic artifact that was blocking his spirit sense. Those ambushing him could only be those who went to the other two caves. Yi Mo felt that Kong Gang and Jin Chuanlin weren't the type to ambush, so the only possibilities were Hurong and Qinpei. It wasn't likely to be Hurong, so Yi Mo felt it was most likely that Qinpei. Thinking about the bleak chi on Qinpei, he knew the best way to fight him was to use Heaven Flame 9 Suns. Thinking about this, Yi Mo released his Heaven Flame at the entrance. The 3 purple suns fused into once and rushed out of the cave. Even a great immortal might not be able to dodge the Heaven Flame that suddenly appeared. A hideous shriek sounded. Yi Mo heard it clearly. It was indeed Qinpei. The magic artifact lost the ability to block spirit sense due to its master being injured. Yi Mo immediately scanned a black figure running out of the cave. The next moment, Yi Mo appeared in the big stone hall. Qinpei stared at Yi Mo like he was a ghost. There was extreme shock and fury in his eyes. The black figure must be someone else. It's you indeed. You killed Feng Guanglong, and now you want to kill me. Qinpei's words made Yi Mo feel speechless. There was someone this shameless. He was ambushing him at the entrance. This Qinpei would ambush whoever came out. This guy was clearly just waiting at the door to ambush whoever came out, so he could collect the immortal crystals other people dug. He just didn't know if the two had been ambushed already. The other black figure who escaped might be Hurong or someone who conspired with Qinpei. Yi Mo didn't even have the interest to explain, and just smashed down with World Rock. Qinpei didn't dare to underestimate Yi Mo at all anymore after seeing his Heaven Flame 9 Suns. He immediately released a huge coffin magic artifact, expecting to block Yi Mo's Heaven Flame. But instead, Yi Mo didn't release any flame. He used a huge, terrifying waiting stone. It gradually turned into a small mountain and fell down. Qinpei had seen many mountainous magic artifacts, but never once did they make him feel this terrified. Before he could think, all the space around him seemed to have been squeezed together by the huge rock. Not good. The black mountain smashed on the huge coffin, and that terrifying pressure instantly made him spit blood. Qinpei couldn't care about getting revenge now. He spat out a rune which instantly turned into a dark green light that enveloped him. Yi Mo immediately realized this guy wanted to run, and inserted more immortal essence into the world rock. Rumble the coffin was smashed to pieces, but Qinpei was long gone. Yi Mo put away the world rock in dissatisfaction. These bastards all had ways to escape. These guys all used escape runes. It seemed he needed to get a few runes, so that when he lost a battle, he could also run. If he learned to make runes, then maybe 100 years later, he could become a rune master, but he really didn't want to learn these things. Pill concoction and forgery already wasted large amounts of his time. He still needed to learn formations too. Qinpei got away, and Yi Mo didn't get a single immortal crystal. However, there was nothing he could do. He looked at the stone caves. He didn't know who the black figure was, but he didn't care. He got 50 million top-grade immortal crystals. This was enough to reach abstruse immortal. Yi Mo left without hesitation. 2 days later, Yi Mo appeared at Chaos Star Realm Level 4. Yi Mo thought it would be a dull space like the previous 3 levels. 2 days later, Yi Mo appeared at Chaos Star Realm Level 4. Yi Mo thought it would be a dull space like the previous 3 levels, but at level 4 he realized he was completely wrong. There still was no sun here, but there were stars and some light. Yi Mo believed those specks in the sky were planets. Once you flew to a certain height, you would be suppressed. Yi Mo knew that with his current power, it was impossible to reach those planets. He didn't know if immortal emperors could go there, or if someone who left the Chaos Star Realm from the Void could go there. At level 4, Yemo didn't go anywhere else and went directly to the Immortal Spirit Herb Mountain. The immortals at level 4 were mostly Great Unity Immortals or above. Rarely did abstruse Immortal come over. Even if they did, it was abstruse Immortal Tertiary Stage cultivators, and they didn't dare to go very deep. Even EMO didn't dare to put Blue Moon's speed at max. He saw on the Jade Slip that the Shadowless Vultures here were already level 4. Theoretically, they were as strong as Great Unity Immortals. Despite them being only good at ambushing and have little battle power, EMO didn't dare to be careless. A few days later, EMO didn't encounter any Shadowless Vultures nor Void Whirlpools, and only then did he speed up. Today, Yemo just wanted to go inside Blue Moon when he felt some waves at the Spirit Sense domain. He sliced back with Zisu without thinking. With a shriek, a few feathers fell, and there was nothing else. It was a Shadowless Vulture. The ones here were indeed much stronger than the ones at level 3. Their speed was far superior to. Yemo was certain that the main feathers of these Shadowless Vultures could even be used to make level 6 flying immortal artifacts. The Shadowless Vulture might be level 4, but if its position was exposed, its battle power might be weaker than a level 3 immortal beast. Knowing this, Yemo even hoped Shadowless Vultures would come. Level 4 Shadowless Vultures were too fast, but Yemo wasn't worried. He had an immortal Nirvana body. Even if he was ambushed, he wouldn't be ripped apart like other cultivators. Yemo didn't intend to go inside the ship anymore. Zhen Bingyu didn't have spirit sense, but she could eat pills herself now. The only pity was that it had been another few days, and he was about to arrive at the Immortal Spirit Herb Mountain soon, but there was still no signs of Shadowless Vultures. Level 4 Shadowless Vultures were much smarter than the other lower level ones. One mistake, and they might run. The Shadowless Vulture that attacked him was probably heavily injured by his sword ray. Perhaps due to this, other Shadowless Vultures were scared of him. Maybe he needed to stop waiting and attack. Thinking about this, Yemo slowed down and released his spirit sense outside. In less than 5 minutes, he found a stealthed, Shadowless Vulture. It was hidden in the void, barely tangible, and even Yemo's spirit sense couldn't sense it, but Yemo's spirit sense domain could. Anything that appeared in his spirit sense domain would be noticed. After noticing it, Yemo kept driving Blue Moon in the same way and casually passed by it. However, when it was behind him, he suddenly attacked. The stealthed, Shadowless Vulture clearly didn't expect Yemo would notice him and would be this sly. Bloody light flashed, and the level 4 Shadowless Vulture was killed without resistance. Yemo rejoiced and quickly took the pain of main feathers and beast core before preparing to ambush the next one. 5 days later, Yemo found that there were less and less Shadowless Vultures. Eventually, he couldn't find a single one. They probably all left, but for Yemo it was enough. He got 11 sets of main feathers and beast cores. This was quite a small fortune. On the 9th day, Yemo came to the outskirts of the Immortal Spirit Herb Mountain, and he realized why it was hard to find. It wasn't at a place with dense immortal spirit chi. It was in a desert with no immortal spirit chi at all. Plus, one needed a jade card to go in the mountain. Yemo didn't know where Zhen Bingyu's master got the jade card from, but he was certain she must have had a great encounter in here. After entering the desert, Yemo soon found the entrance to the Immortal Spirit Herb Mountain. If Zhen Bingyu didn't tell him, he wouldn't be able to see the entrance formation at all. He was certain this stealth formation was beyond level 6. He patted the jade card in the air, and a faint yellow ring expanded. Soon, a formation door opened. Yemo put away the jade card and entered the formation door. Then, the formation door disappeared. The dense immortal spirit chi inside made Yi Mo realize why immortal spirit herbs could grow here. A moderately tall mountain appeared before him. The slope was very steady. It was more like the staircase farms he had seen before. There were immortal spirit herbs everywhere from level 1 to level 6. They were distributed evenly. Each level had its own region. Clearly, someone intentionally planted these, or else wouldn't there be some natural immortal spirit herb mountain? Plus, this wasn't a few hundred like Zhen Bingyu said before. There were tens of thousands of immortal spirit herbs. There were even thousands of level 5 and level 6 immortal spirit herbs. Yi Mo was certain that there was more than one immortal range below here. So many immortal spirit herbs, even Zhen Bingyu was shocked. How many do we collect? Yi Mo looked back at her and asked, although these immortal spirit herbs were not necessarily grown by her master, they still belonged to her master. If Yi Mo found this himself, he would move everything, including the immortal range, into this golden page world without hesitation, but clearly he couldn't do this now. Collect however many you think you need, Zhen Bingyu said without hesitation. Regardless whether she could recover, it was due to Yi Mo she could live until now. Although she said Yi Mo could only collect a small part, she couldn't resist at all now, so Yi Mo didn't even need to ask her. Yi Mo felt his chin. I'll only collect a part, and I need to cultivate here for a while. He was indeed a bit embarrassed. That's fine, Zhen Bingyu said without hesitation. She knew her failure in Nirvana didn't have much to do with Yi Mo. It was more because she didn't prepare well enough. She saw that Yi Mo could succeed, and thus wanted to try as well, but in the end she failed. Yi Mo took out the cultivation artifact mansion and sent Zhen Bingyu inside. Then he began digging the level 5 and level 6 immortal spirit herbs. He didn't even touch the level 4 ones except for a few that were useful to him. Zhen Bingyu couldn't use spirit sense now, so Yi Mo just set up a simple barrier formation and brought a bunch of immortal spirit herbs into the golden page world. Zhen Bingyu couldn't use spirit sense now, so Yi Mo just set up a simple barrier formation and brought a bunch of immortal spirit herbs into the golden page world. The tidy-looking place looked messy now. Yi Mo dug level 5 and level 6 immortal spirit herbs from the area with the densest immortal spirit chi, but Yi Mo didn't care. He was concocting pills in the golden page world like crazy. He was mainly concocting immortal grade level 6 pills. One of his reasons for coming here was to reach level 6 immortal pill Great Master. The dual spirit pill couldn't completely cure Zhen Bingyu, but it could allow her essence spirit to not cripple. If her essence spirit gathered, she would get better day by day. Even if in the end she couldn't cultivate due to her spirit roots dissolving, she wouldn't be in life-threatening danger. 1 month later, Yi Mo successfully reached level 6 immortal pill Great Master. Since he was in a rush, he wasted more than 80% of the level 6 immortal spirit herbs here. He collected the remaining 20% into his golden page world too. If he did things slowly, he could reach level 6 immortal pill Great Master in a year, but that was too slow. As soon as he became level 6 immortal pill Great Master, Yi Mo immediately concocted a few cauldrons of dual spirit pills. They could not only repair spirit sense, but also repair souls and essence spirits. Even if your spirit sense and essence spirit weren't injured, you could use it to cultivate, and the effects were quite great. Used with corner soul weeds and the soul nourishing, well, its spirit sense cultivation effect would be at the best. However, it was an immortal grade pill, and the caliber of the soul nourishing well wasn't enough. Yi Mo only got 1 drop a year, so he could only use it with corner soul weeds to cultivate spirit sense. But that wasn't important for Yi Mo anymore. He had dual spirit pills. How many in the immortal realm could use them to cultivate spirit sense? Yi Mo took out a few bottles of dual spirit pills and came out of the golden page world. He needed to give the pills to Zhen Bingyu first. Otherwise, who knew how long he might be in solitary cultivation? Zhen Bingyu spent most of her time sleeping, and when she woke up, she would use her body refinement cultivation method to repair her meridians. Even though she knew it was useless, she never wanted to give up. She had no other way but to use her body refinement cultivation method. When Yi Mo came in this time, Zhen Bingyu was awake. She had always been someone to endure loneliness and didn't feel dissatisfied at Yi Mo for leaving her alone in the house. Seeing Zhen Bingyu still trying to cultivate her body refinement cultivation method, Yi Mo was helpless. He gave her quite some pills, even snow-winged pills and jiqiong pills, and even set up a spirit gathering formation here. But her injury wasn't something that could recover through cultivation. Most people would lose their body after failing nirvana, but because Zhen Bingyu used part of the chaos blue reed, her body was fine, but her essence spirit and spirit roots were damaged. I've made a new pill today. Have a look. Yi Mo took out the dual spirit pill and passed it to her. He believed she hadn't seen the pill before, as dark weeds were extinct in the immortal realm. Zhen Bingyu didn't look carefully at the jade bottle Yi Mo gave her. She opened and took out a pill and placed it in her mouth. She was certain that Yi Mo was an immortal pill great master, so she didn't doubt the pills he gave her. Moments later, Zhen Bingyu's face shook. There was extreme shock on her face. Then she closed her eyes and started using her cultivation method. She could feel she could finally use her cultivation method. Although her dissolving spirit roots couldn't be repaired, her weakness and crippled essence spirit could be repaired. Yi Mo clearly saw 2 streaks of tears rolling down her eyes. She must be very excited seeing that her injuries had signs of recovery. Yi Mo was shocked as well. This was the first time he saw Zhen Bingyu cry. He thought that someone like her wouldn't cry even if she was about to be killed. She teared up now, not because she might be saved, but because she could cultivate again. Yi Mo sighed. This woman was too obsessed. Words couldn't describe her obsession for cultivation. Yi Mo knew she definitely was a reasonable person, and her social experience was no lesser than other people, but everything was based on cultivation. Yi Mo had seen this woman smile once before. He was very shocked. He believed that when she smiled, it was many times prettier than when she had a cold face. Now that he saw her tear up, it was definitely many times prettier than when she was cold. Yi Mo shook his head. He really couldn't correlate this woman to the woman who thought of her body as just flesh and bones. He didn't disturb her. He left behind a few more bottles of dual spirit pills and left. He also needed to go in solitary cultivation. 50 top-grade immortal crystals. Yi Mo didn't save any for cultivation. He set up layer upon layer of immortal crystals, spirit gathering formations, and 8 pill after pill. The time formation disc ran for 2 years, and then Yi Mo suddenly got up. He finally reached Golden Immortal Peak stage from Golden Immortal Tertiary stage. He just needed to have his divine damnation, and he would be an abstruse immortal. After abstruse immortal, he would leave here. According to his calculations, Susu and them wouldn't ascend this quickly. It was best for him to leave the 11 low heaven domains and go into the 11 middle domains to find his opportunity of reaching great immortal. Lu Jingchuan was calculating his location, and it had been so many years already. If he really found it, then he would have nowhere to hide in the 11 low heaven domains. Yi Mo knew that although he had great unity pill, his cultivation wasted too much resources. He used 10 million top-grade immortal crystals to go from Golden Immortal Tertiary stage to Golden Immortal Peak stage. Just how many would he need to go from Abstruse Immortal Primary stage to Abstruse Immortal Peak stage? And Yi Mo felt that although the effect of immortal crystals cultivation wasn't bad, it was far from as good as the immortal well. If he found another top-grade immortal well, his cultivation speed would rapidly increase. Yi Mo went out of the golden page world and immediately scanned Zhen Bingyu with his spirit sense. She could sit and cultivate now. It seemed the pills were quite effective. She looked considerably better than before. Seeing Yi Mo come in, Zhan Bingyu stopped cultivation and stared at Yi Mo, asking, "You gave me dual spirit pills? Where did you get corner soul weeds?" Yi Mo was shook. He didn't expect her to really recognize what pill it was, but he said heavily, "Would you believe it if I said I found it in the corner soul domain when you didn't notice?" Zhan Bingyu frowned and said no more. "Not bad. You can sit up now." Yi Mo walked over and carried Zhan Bingyu on his back again. "Thank you for your pills. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't even be able to stabilize my essence spirit. I can use spirit sense now and open my own storage ring," Zhan Bingyu said. "You're welcome. You're injured partly due to me. Do you have pills left? If not, I'll give you a few more bottles," Yi Mo asked. Zhan Bingyu fell silent for a while and said, "There's still a lot left. I don't use much." Yi Mo took out another storage ring and gave it to her. "There are some pills I made in here. You can have them. I've also put some of the essence spirit recovery pills inside too." Zhan Bingyu asked in confusion, "Why? Why not keep these pills on you and give it to me when I need it? It's the same sooner or later. I'm about to have my abstruse, immortal divine damnation. After I reach abstruse, immortal, I will be leaving the Chaos Star realm. I think that will be in at most 1 year. This means that in about a year, you can go back to your sect. We might not see each other again. So I might as well give the pills to you now," Yi Mo explained. Zhan Bingyu nodded and said no more. When Yi Mo put away the cultivation artifact mansion and carried her on his back again, she suddenly said, "If one day I can recover, I won't forget that you saved me before." Yi Mo smiled. "No need. It's better for you to forget about me." Zhan Bingyu didn't say much and asked, "How much confidence do you have in passing your divine damnation?" This time Yi Mo said, "Actually, I love having divine damnations. Believe it or not, up to you." Zhan Bingyu shook her head and said no more. Zhan Bingyu shook her head and said no more. Yi Mo took out the jade card and left the immortal spirit herb mountain again, returning to the desert of level 4. Looking at this boundless desert, he had to admit that whoever set this formation up was quite powerful. He could set up such a formation, but hiding such a huge, immortal spirit herb mountain in the formation would only be possible once he reached level 5, or level 6 immortal formation, Great Master. Most of the times when Yi Mo had his divine damnation, he didn't set up spirit gathering formations as he could devour lightning source. He didn't care if there was the immortal spirit chi was plentiful or not, but in this desert almost devoid of immortal spirit chi, Yi Mo set up a spirit gathering immortal formation. Last time when he had his golden immortal divine damnation, he was almost ambushed by the divine damnation. Luckily, he reached golden immortal at the last moment. So this time he set up an abundant immortal spirit chi gathering formation. As for lighting attraction and storage formations, Yi Mo couldn't be bothered setting them up. He knew with the current power of the divine damnation, the formations wouldn't be able to store it even if he set them up. Seeing Yi Mo set up so many immortal spirit chi gathering formations, Zhan Bingyu was speechless. To be honest, Yi Mo was just having an abstruse immortal divine damnation. Why did it seem like he was having his great immortal divine damnation? And he even said his favorite things were divine damnations. Yi Mo was already using the 3-birth chant in the formation at this moment, ready to draw down the divine damnation. Zhan Bingyu hadn't seen Yi Mo's cultivation scene, but now that she saw all the immortal spirit chi of the immortal crystals around Yi Mo gather and form a mist, she was shocked. No wonder he cultivated so fast. The impact of his cultivation was this huge. Soon, she saw 8 huge immortal spirit chi whirlpools spinning above Yi Mo's head. They grew bigger and bigger until they combined into one. There were about 10 million immortal crystals outside. That seemed a lot, but not for someone who cultivated like Yi Mo. To be honest, if an ordinary golden immortal used so many immortal crystals to cultivate, he might not be able to use them up within a few thousand years, but with Yi Mo's speed, Zhen Bingyu was certain they wouldn't last him even 100 years. Thinking that Yi Mo needed 100 times more immortal crystals than others, Zhen Bingyu took in a cold breath. She had seen some prodigies in the sect, but none of them has such a grand cultivation scene. Yi Mo's heritage was too powerful. Zhen Bingyu shook her head. She also benefited from Yi Mo's heritage, or she would have turned to dust from nirvana already. However, no matter how powerful Yi Mo's heritage was, he wasn't going to give it to her. If she didn't save his life, she might not even have the body refinement cultivation method. Yi Mo ate the abstruse clear pill. 15 minutes later, the dim sky got darker, and Zhen Bingyu knew Yi Mo's divine damnation was here. Rumble, rumble, 9 faint red lightning arcs fell down. Zhen Bingyu dazed on the side. What was going on? Since when was the first wave of abstruse immortal divine damnation 9 bolts? Usually there were at most 3. Abstruse immortal divine damnations were usually 18 bolts. If there were 9 in the first wave, then wouldn't that mean there would only be 2 waves? Plus, no matter how powerful the golden immortal peak stage was, he wouldn't be able to stop 9 bolts at the same time. These 9 bolts were extremely thick too. How could Yi Mo survive that? And what was this faint red lightning bolt? She had never seen it before. Crack, the 9 bolts all blasted on Yi Mo's body, but what Zhen Bingyu didn't understand was that Yi Mo didn't even release a defensive magic artifact. Did he not have one? Or did Yi Mo think he could take it head-on because he had an immortal nirvana body? It might be that Yi Mo really didn't have a defensive magic artifact. She had been with Yi Mo for quite long, and she had never seen him take out a defensive magic artifact. When the 9 bolts struck him, Yi Mo knew these lightning arcs were so much stronger than his golden immortal divine damnation. Yi Mo's 3-birth chant ran, and he devoured the lightning source incessantly, converting them all to immortal essence. He could clearly feel that the red lightning was much stronger than before, but he was damaged less. Only his skin cracked open. Only now did Yi Mo feel the benefits of body refinement, immortal body. Seeing Yi Mo easily survive the 9 bolts, Zhen Bingyu was completely dumbfounded. This was the first time she had seen an abstruse immortal divine damnation this powerful, and someone pass it so easily. No wonder Yi Mo didn't release a defensive magic artifact. He was prepared. Was an immortal nirvana body really this powerful? More than 10 cracks sounded in the air again. 18 bolts of lightning fell at the same time, and they seemed thicker and more ferocious than before. What's going on? Zhen Bingyu looked at the divine damnation in confusion. This was 27 bolts already. Only an extremely rare few golden immortal cultivators would have 27 bolts. Thinking about how Yi Mo could kill abstruse immortals as golden immortal, Zhen Bingyu seemed to realize something, but even 27 bolts didn't come in just 2 waves. But Yi Mo didn't fear them at all. He charged up against the wave. He felt he was lucky he finished his nirvana before this divine damnation. Or else this time, he wouldn't have it so easy. Rumble, the lightning bolt struck him, but he used 3-birth chant to devour the lightning power. The faint red lightning was rapidly devoured by Yi Mo and turned into lightning element immortal essence, increasing his cultivation level. He's actually fine. Zhen Bingyu was dazed again. The 18 bolts didn't even heavily injure Yi Mo. Rumble, 2 more bolts fell down. Zhen Bingyu was completely bewildered now. This was beyond 27 bolts. However, Yi Mo's power began to rise rapidly now. It didn't stop at the 2 bolts. More fell. 2 more, 3 more, 2 more. Lighting arcs fell down nonstop and grew thicker and thicker until Yi Mo was completely immersed in red lightning bolts. Zhen Bingyu looked dazedly at this. She didn't understand at all just what kind of divine damnation Yi Mo was having. How could there be so many bolts of abstruse, immortal divine damnation? Suddenly, Yi Mo let out a long howl and charged up while releasing black lighting to fight against the pink lightning in the sky. He was crazy. Zhang Bingyu finally realized why Yi Mo said he loved divine damnation. She had never seen someone have divine damnation like this. This was attacking divine damnation. Was he trying to show off his power or trying to anger the divine damnation? Zhang Bingyu didn't know that Yi Mo was long past the angering divine damnation phase. He charged up to fight divine damnation so his lightning sword would improve. Each time he used lightning sword against divine damnation, its power would increase a level. Now that he had completely finished divine damnation and reached abstruse immortal, how could he waste such an opportunity to improve his lightning sword? Rumbling sounds were incessant in the air. Yi Mo's black lightning sword clashed with the red lightning bolts. 5 minutes later, the lightning slowly dissipated and the immortal spirit Qi cloud finally came. Yi Mo put away his lightning sword and started devouring the immortal spirit Qi cloud. This divine damnation was too easy. But Yi Mo knew that the abstruse immortal divine damnation was the easiest divine damnation among all of the immortal divine damnations. Feeling the power of abstruse immortal essence and spirit sense, Yi Mo was very happy. It was indeed too hard to kill abstruse immortals as a golden immortal. If it wasn't that his cultivation method was so absurd, it would be impossible. At this moment, Yi Mo thought of the words of that blue dress status immortal. You will forever be a golden immortal for the rest of your life. It had only been a few years, and he was already abstruse immortal. At this moment, Yi Mo thought of the words of that blue-dressed status immortal. You will forever be a golden immortal for the rest of your life. It had only been a few years, and he was already abstruse immortal. Even though Yi Mo knew this wasn't due to him but to the three-birth chant, yet he still felt very satisfied. Yi Mo cleansed himself and changed into a new set of clothes before putting away the extra immortal crystals. Then he came to Zhang Bingyu. Let's go, we can go back to the extreme sword sect. Yi Mo released Blue Moon and said. Zhang Bingyu sighed. She realized that even though she doubted Yi Mo to be bluffing, it turned out he was telling the truth. When she thought she knew a lot of secrets about Yi Mo, she only in fact knew less than 1%. Yi Mo carried Zhang Bingyu onto Blue Moon and released it, flying towards the entrance of level 3. He was abstruse immortal primary stage now, and his immortal essence was many times stronger. His spirit sense also increased greatly. The speed with which the level 4 flying immortal artifact Blue Moon was going was unfathomable. The level 4 shadowless vultures seemed to know that Yi Mo wasn't easy to mess with, so not a single one came to stop Yi Mo. In a short 3 days, Yi Mo was back at level 3. He realized that even if one had a good flying magic artifact, it needed someone good to use it. If he wasn't an abstruse immortal and was still a golden immortal, he wouldn't be able to make Blue Moon go this fast, no matter what. Before he flew across level 3 for a year, but now when he flew to the second level entrance, he took less than half a year. When Yi Mo went into level 2, he immediately became careful and stealth Blue Moon. There was the corner soul domain at level 2. Yi Mo didn't know if powerful beings were here checking it. If he encountered a status immortal and they pressured him with spirit sense, he really wasn't sure if he could keep Golden Page World a secret. Just in case, Yi Mo hid his power back to Golden Immortal Primary Stage. After all, he came here as a Golden Immortal Primary Stage, but in just 10 years he was Abstruse Immortal Primary Stage. Yi Mo could have come to the entrance of level 2 in 3 months, but he was very careful and went around. However, Yi Mo felt it was strange that level 2 was so calm. He didn't meet many immortals on the way. Seeing that he was about to leave level 2, Yi-Mo finally couldn't resist it and stopped two golden immortals. They were both golden immortal peak stage. The two weren't worried that a golden immortal primary stage stopped them, but instead studied Jin Bingyu a few times. Two friends, I've been in solitary cultivation, and I just came out. I want to go to the corner soul domain, but I haven't been able to find the direction. May I ask where it is? Yi-Mo saluted with his fists. You want to go to the corner soul domain, a golden immortal asked, in confusion. Yes, my martial sister's spirit sense is injured, Yi-Mo answered. The two looked at Jin Bingyu and didn't suspect, and then immediately said, You don't need to go anymore. The corner soul domain is actually a small world and was taken away by someone 10 years ago. The person who took it away is very evil. He didn't let a single person who went inside out. Now, it's non-existent. Yi-Mo was a little confused. Was he the only one who predicted that the soul corner domain was a sea of consciousness? Did no one check it out? Yi-Mo asked again. The golden immortals said plainly, Of course, 3 immortal emperors from the grand heaven domains came. They found that the small world had been spirit-controlled, and the owner took away all the immortals in it. The 3 immortal emperors were furious and immediately locked up the surroundings of the corner soul domain, not allowing any more to get near. They're trying to calculate whose spirit controlled the small world. Yi-Mo quickly thanked them and saluted with his fists before flying off. After he was outside of the two's spirit sense range, he released Blue Moon and flew rapidly towards level 1. He was very clear that the 3 immortal emperors must have noticed something strange about the corner soul domain and might have even guessed it was Wushuang immortal emperor's sea of consciousness. Calculate whose spirit controlled the small world? Immortals who were great immortal and above wouldn't believe such a lie. Even if all the people in a low heaven domain died, probably not a single immortal emperor would come to care, much less a small world and a few thousand immortals. Small worlds were valuable to ordinary people, but each immortal emperor probably had quite a few. If it was some truth spirit world or chaos world, those immortal emperors would come check, but it was impossible they came for a small world and a few thousand low-grade immortals. So Yi-Mo had to leave as quickly as possible in case he was involved. Luckily, what Yi-Mo worried about didn't happen, or perhaps he overestimated himself. He was only a golden immortal. When Yi-Mo came back to the level 1 entrance, he found that Marketplace was still there, but there were all strangers. Only a few familiar faces were there. Before they could recognize him, Yi-Mo left with Jin Bingyu rapidly. 2 months later, Yi-Mo brought Jin Bingyu to the asteroid door. Yi-Mo couldn't be bothered finding a group, so he just flew into the void himself. This time, his luck was much better. He only encountered an asteroid flow and a void storm group, nothing else very threatening. Even so, Yi-Mo just took 11 days to come back to Far Star Castle. 10 years was really nothing in the immortal realm. It passed in the blink of an eye. Yi-Mo didn't want anyone to notice him, so he immediately used the teleportation formation to Gong, Hua Heaven. Coming out of the teleportation formation, Yi-Mo used Blue Moon at full power, flying towards Extreme Sword Sect. Yi-Mo had long panned to immediately leave Gong Hua Heaven after sending Jin Bingyu to Extreme Sword Sect and head towards the Middle Heaven domains. In just a few days, Yi-Mo neared the land of Extreme Sword Sect again. Seeing that he would arrive in just 3 hours, Yi-Mo suddenly stopped Blue Moon. What's wrong? Jin Bingyu was excited too. She really wanted to know if her master could save her. So she had been constantly noting the distance to Extreme Sword Sect. Yi-Mo frowned. I have a feeling we can't go too fast. It's not very safe ahead. It's Extreme Sword Sect. How can it be not safe? Jin Bingyu looked at Yi-Mo in confusion and seemed to have realized something and added, Don't worry, I definitely won't allow my master to attack you, nor let the sect do anything to you. My injuries have nothing to do with you. It's extreme sword sect. How can it be not safe? Zhun Bingyu looked at Yi Mo in confusion and seemed to have realized something and added, "Don't worry, I definitely won't allow my master to attack you, nor let the sect do anything to you. My injuries have nothing to do with you." Yi Mo didn't doubt her words and believed she could do it. Her master status was very high, seemingly just below the sect leader. Even so, he felt uneasy. Yi Mo had always trusted his sense for danger. This sense had never been wrong ever, since he cultivated three-birth chant. Yi Mo stopped and instead changed directions and left. Zhun Bingyu frowned and stared at Yi Mo, asking, "Why?" "Very sorry, I can't go to Extreme Sword Sect. I keep sensing there is danger ahead. If you must go, you can release your rainbow stamp. But if you trust me, then I suggest you to not be in a rush to go back. Wait until I find out why I feel uneasy." Yi Mo answered heavily. Zhun Bingyu stared at Yi Mo for a long while and remembered that when she was with Yi Mo, he never seemed to have lied. So she said, "Okay, I choose to believe you. If you don't find out why, I hope you can send me back as soon as possible." Yi Mo ignored her. That sense of danger was getting denser. He left the nearby area of Extreme Sword Sect rapidly. Zhun Bingyu thought Yi Mo would go to nearby cities and ask about the sect, but she was soon disappointed. Yi Mo instead went to further places. Zhun Bingyu knew resistance was futile, so she said no more. She had doubted Yi Mo many times, but it always ended up with her being wrong. So she chose to believe Yi Mo this time. She knew that if she really wanted to go back herself, Yi Mo would agree. A month later, Yi Mo came to a rather distant city from the sect, Xin Kui Immortal City. "You had best cover your face." Yi Mo put away Blue Moon and carried Zhun Bingyu on his back and said, "Zhun Bingyu could be said to be the prettiest woman in Gonghua heaven. People would definitely notice such a woman." He didn't want her to expose her identity. "Okay." Zhun Bingyu took out a face veil and covered her face. Yi Mo carried Zhun Bingyu to the city gates and found there was a huge statue of an immortal. That's Xin Kui, Great Emperor, the only immortal emperor to have ever come from Xin Kui City. The city was built by him, Zhun Bingyu said. Yi Mo knew about great emperors. One must be immortal emperor peak stage and be revered by other immortals to have such a title. Yu Miaodan didn't expect the low heaven domain that rarely had an immortal king would have an immortal emperor, but he didn't have the mood to ask about this emperor. The magnitude of this city seemed even better than by Immortal City. Immortals came flowing by. Yi Mo took out 100 middle-grade immortal crystals and made 2 temporary jade cards at the city gates and took Zhun Bingyu in. He also recovered his power to be abstruse immortal primary stage. With Zhun Bingyu's guidance, he came to the most popular immortal rest tower in the city. He came here to find news, of course. There were rooms, but they didn't go. He took Zhun Bingyu to one corner in the lounge and ordered 2 cups of immortal spirit tea. Many people came here, and quite a lot of people came here to search for news. But most of them were here for cultivation resource-related news. There was a huge display formation at the front of the lounge showing news of forming teams and exchanges. Yi Mo signaled to Zhun Bingyu and was prepared to find someone to indirectly ask about Extreme Sword Sect when they heard people on the right discussing about it. There were 2 golden immortal cultivators, and even though they weren't loud, Zhun Bingyu could hear them clearly. If something didn't happen to Minghua, us 3 could have formed a team for this. It's a pity her entire sect has been annihilated. Sigh, the Extreme Sword Sect did nothing to deserve this. Who did they offend? They were just straight up annihilated. They are a sect passed down from the ancient times. Even in the low heaven domain, sects without a status immortal are insects. Yeah, a great eternity immortal sect is high up there in Gonghua heaven, but it was so easily annihilated. Let's find someone else. Yi Mo frowned. He didn't expect his sense of danger was extreme sword sect being annihilated. They were first-grade power in Gonghua Heaven, who had the power to dare to annihilate them. Did the Gonghua Heaven's Heaven Lord not say anything? Why were they annihilated? Shen Bingyu's face was pale. Although she was focused on the Tao, she was only abstruse immortal primary stage. Extreme sword sect was where she grew up, and her master was there. Now that the sect was annihilated, how could her master be safe? At least she knew Yi Mo's premonition was right. Yi Mo was silent. The sect annihilation wasn't what made him feel endangered. He could still go in after the sect was annihilated, but the reason he felt danger meant that there was someone waiting for something there. Let's go. Yi Mo got up. He knew staying here was pointless. This place was 1 month away from the sect, but that was just to him. For some powerful beings, it might just be a few hours. Shen Bingyu was numb. For the first time, she lost a sense of direction. Even though she was heavily injured, she wasn't lost like this because she could at least go back to her sect. Now that her sect was gone, where could she go? She didn't know what to do at all now. Yi Mo told her to leave. So she could only go with Yi Mo, plus she could only rely on Yi Mo. An immortal ship flying towards Tang Yao Heaven Domain will be passing by here in a day, a golden immortal suddenly said in shock. Isn't Tang Yao Heaven a middle-grade heaven domain? Why would a ship going there stop at Xin Kui, Immortal City? It has nothing to do with the city. Heaven Domain flying ships stay to earn immortal crystals. That's true. If that's so, then this is really good news. Good news my ass. Look at how many immortal crystals are needed. Can ordinary immortals afford that? 15 million top-grade immortal crystals for a low-grade seat? Oh my God, this is too terrifying. Yi Mo saw this news too, and immediately carried up Shen Bingyu. Tang Yao Heaven was a middle heaven domain. Now that he had such an opportunity, he must go. Ever since he left the Chaos Star Realm, he had been feeling uneasy. Lu Xingchuan was like this huge mountain blocking in front of him. Yi Mo saw this news too, and immediately carried up Shen Bingyu. Tang Yao Heaven was a middle heaven domain. Now that he had such an opportunity, he must go. Ever since he left the Chaos Star Realm, he had been feeling uneasy. Lu Xingchuan was like this huge mountain blocking in front of him. He felt danger in the 11 low heaven domains. This place wasn't good to stay. He must leave the 11 low heaven domains. Even if he couldn't get to the grand 11 heaven domains, the middle 11 heaven domains were good. Yi Mo was planning to go the middle 11 heaven domains anyways. Yi Mo left the Immortal Rest Tower with Shen Bingyu. If Shen Bingyu was to go too, then the ticket would cost 30 million top-grade immortal crystals, and Yi Mo happened to have that much. I want to go to Tang Yao Heaven. Are you coming with me? Or going somewhere else? Yi Mo asked. If she wanted to go somewhere else, he would be happy to send her over, but only if he could get back on time. Shen Bingyu was still lost. Ever since she was born, her goal was straightforward: cultivate and turn extreme sword sect into a status immortal sect. After she reached status immortal, she would seek to become an immortal emperor and achieve Tao. But half of her life goal has been destroyed. Even after countless years, when she reached status immortal, extreme sword sect wouldn't be able to be what it used to be. I have nowhere to go. Shen Bingyu shook her head. Since you have nowhere to go, come to Tang Yao Heaven with me. It's a middle heaven domain. Perhaps we can find a way for you to recover there, Yi Mo said. Yi Mo had thought of another way to heal Shen Bingyu, but he wouldn't do that. He had the small sapling in his golden page world. If he gave her to eat, she would definitely recover. He was injured by that sword tipped back in the cultivation realm, and his injuries couldn't recover. However, the small sapling easily healed him when he just got near it. Plus, Lu Xingchuan used so much effort just to cultivate that small sapling. One could see how precious it is. He definitely wouldn't take it out unless someone close to him was about to die. Thinking about that sword tip, Yi Mo thought of Yimo. He inserted his spirit sense Dao will into it and gave it to Yimo. The notice on the Immortal Rest Tower was clear. Those who wanted to go on the immortal ship would need to go to city management and sign up. When Yi Mo brought Zhen Bingyu over, there were more than 10 immortals already, ranging from Golden Immortal to Great Extreme Immortal, but most were abstruse immortals. No one noticed Yi Mo, an abstruse immortal primary stage, but people immediately started to watch when Yi Mo carried a heavily injured woman inside. Most immortals in the immortal realm were shrouded in rainbow clouds and appeared like gods, but selfishness was embedded in their bones. Behind their glamorous looks were robbery and ambush. With the limited cultivation resources, if one didn't compete for them, they would be disqualified in the endless pursuit of immortal Tao. Relatively, those sect members of big sects had greater morals. At least with a big sect, they wouldn't easily kill unless there was something truly valuable. These people were confused seeing Yi Mo carry a heavily injured woman. Most of them were Golden Immortal and above and could easily tell Zhen Bingyu couldn't cultivate anymore. Some people saw the perfectly beautiful body of Zhen Bingyu and how Yi Mo was carrying her. They believed that Yi Mo loved this woman too much to be willing to take out an extra 15 million for her. An abstruse immortal primary stage could take out 30 million top-grade immortal crystals. This was very shocking. Most great immortals wouldn't be able to take out even 10 million top-grade immortal crystals. Just how wealthy was he? This wasn't a middle or grand heaven domain. All the immortals here saved countless years of immortal crystals or were helped by their heritage. At the sign-up place, Yi Mo paid 30 million top-grade immortal crystals without hesitation and got 2 tickets. Then he sat on the side waiting for the immortal ship. Now, Yi Mo had less than 100k immortal crystals, but he wasn't worried. He would have his way when he went to Tang Yao Heaven. The other immortals immediately respected Yi Mo's ability to pay 30 million top-grade immortal crystals, and some even moved away from the window seat to let Yi Mo sit down. "Friend, are you from Gonghua Heaven?" one abstruse, immortal middle stage asked. Yi Mo said, "No, I'm from Extreme Wind Heaven. I heard there was a heaven domain flying ship here, so I came wanting to try my luck at the Middle Heaven domain." Yi Mo also carefully watched this abstruse immortal. He wore a gray immortal robe and looked very ordinary. But Yi Mo didn't feel he had any bad intentions. He probably came to talk to him because he easily took out 30 million top-grade immortal crystals. That's right, the immortal spirit chi in the low heaven domains is too scarce, and there aren't enough cultivation resources. It doesn't work at all to fully rely on immortal crystals for cultivation. So I gritted my teeth and took out all my savings to check out the middle heaven domains. I might even be able to reach Great Immortal there, the gray-robed immortal said. Yi Mo nodded and smiled but said nothing. This gray-robed immortal was very talkative and said again, "Friend, it's quite amazing you could get news of this ship ahead of time. I only got this news by luck. If I got this news at Extreme Wind Heaven, I wouldn't be able to make it for the immortal ship. I'm Lan Disheng. I heard it takes a few years to fly there. We're all from low grade heaven domains. We should get to know each other so we can take care of each other out there," Lan Disheng said. "I'm Yi Mo. This is my martial sister," Yi Mo said, but didn't say Zhen Bingyu's name. Soon Yi Mo got to know Lan Disheng, and the 2 others on the side also joined the conversation. One was a female cultivator. She was abstruse, immortal middle stage power and called Tan Xiaolian. Another abstruse, immortal tertiary stage man was called Xiang Qilin. They all wanted to reach Great Immortal in the Middle Heaven domain. Yi Mo's power was the lowest, but no one dared to underestimate him. Tan Xiaolian couldn't compare with Zhen Bingyu in terms of looks, but she was rather good-looking. Xiang Qilin looked ferocious like Yi Mo when he had just reached immortal nirvana body. But Yi Mo knew he wasn't a body refinement cultivator. His ferocious temperament was probably natural or due to his trial experiences. Nonetheless, he spoke very amicably. Shen Bingyu said nothing, and no one asked about her. The three were all from Gonghua Heaven and were solo cultivators, so they spoke casually. The conversation was very pleasant. There were a few times Yi Mo wanted to ask about the extreme sword sect, but he resisted the urge. He knew this wasn't a suitable time to ask about it. He could ask when they got on the ship. Nearly 20 more people came, and Yi Mo realized just how much the ship was earning. They could earn this much just by passing by this city. How much could they earn for the entire trip? These immortal crystals are too easy to earn. Tan Xiaoyan sighed in admiration. There were 40 people here, and this could bring the immortal ship a few hundred million. How much could they earn for this entire ship? Plus, they were only getting low-grade seatings. What about middle grade, top grade, and special grade? Lon Dishing shook his head. Not anyone can earn these immortal crystals. Heaven domain ships can't be obtained by ordinary people. An ordinary one would require a few immortal forgery grandmasters to forge for up to 100 years. The running and maintenance costs of the immortal ship are also quite hefty. On top of that, the immortal ships heading from low heaven domains to middle heaven domains have at least 3 immortal king guards. If that was the case, even if an immortal king was given a heaven domain ship, he wouldn't be able to run it. I heard there is also a teleportation formation from low to middle heaven domains, Tan Xiaoyan said. Lon Dishing said, I've heard of it too, but no one knows where the teleportation formations are. Perhaps they don't run, or can only be opened during times of emergency. A day passed quickly, and the heaven domain ship arrived in time. It stopped at the outskirts of the immortal city. The ship was almost half the size of the city. A day passed quickly, and the heaven domain ship arrived in time. It stopped at the outskirts of the immortal city. The ship was almost half the size of the city. When Yi Mo and them left the city with the management, they entered the ship from below. It took only a few minutes for the ship to begin flying again. Once Yi Mo and them entered, after the management left, a great Unity Immortal led them on the ship. He scanned them and said, Welcome to the Tang Feng Heaven Domain ship. Because you bought low-grade tickets, you can only stay at the low-grade deck. The rent of each room is 100K immortal crystals a year. One abstruse immortal tertiary stage was shocked and asked, Chen Bei, we've already paid the ticket. Why do we need to pay rent? The great Unity Immortal frowned, and his tone suddenly went cold. You mean that after you paid those few immortal crystals, you can stay here for free and use the immortal spirit chi for free? The abstruse immortal tertiary stage shivered and didn't dare to say anything else. Everyone, including Yi Mo, realized that they were scammed. The plane ticket didn't include a place to stay. What sort of logic was this? But no one dared to say anything. It was asking for death, starting trouble with management here. Yi Mo fell silent. Luckily, Zhen Bingyu had some immortal crystals in her storage ring. Otherwise, they wouldn't even have a place to stay. Seeing the rest of the people stay silent, the great Unity Immortal nodded. Now you can buy room jade cards with me. As for other costs, they will be in each room. Hearing this, everyone realized this was no immortal ship but a scam ship. However, most of the people had decided to stay in their room, no matter what. This way, even if other places needed immortal crystals, it wouldn't be their problem. Most people took out immortal crystals to buy a room other than a few individuals. Yi Mo just bought one room. Firstly, because Zhen Bingyu couldn't even move and protect herself. And secondly, since he didn't have that many immortal crystals. He paid for 10 years. 2 rooms would cost 4 million. He didn't have that many immortal crystals in his storage ring. Only Zhen Bingyu's storage ring still had a few million. After getting a room number, the familiar people greeted each other and went to find their own rooms. The low-grade deck was at the lowest part of the ship in the middle. The immortal spirit chi was lacking here, and there was no spirit gathering formation. It was just a place to stay. As for rooms on the side, they were top-grade decks. The rooms at the top were special-grade decks. Yemo got low D298. He told Lan Xingdi, and them before quickly going into his room. When he went in the room, he was speechless. 100K immortal crystals a year got him a place was less than 10 square meters. If they weren't cultivators, ordinary people wouldn't be able to stay here at all. They weren't just staying for a year or two, but for decades. This place seemed not much better than the corner seat he got on the ship from Blackweed Forest. Yemo took out some daily items and placed Jun Bingyu down. He just noticed that the room was covered with signs full of prices. Go to the top deck and watch the void for a day. 10,000 top-grade immortal crystals. Go to middle-grade deck, exchange, social, marketplace. 10,000 top-grade immortal crystals a day. Top-grade marketplace, 30,000 a day. Rent a stall place at middle-grade marketplace. 100,000 top-grade immortal crystals a day. The price list was very long. Yemo was speechless. He couldn't even be bothered looking. It cost 10,000 immortal crystals a day just to watch the view. This was the biggest scam he had seen. You're planning to keep taking me with you like this? Jun Bingyu saw Yemo turn around and suddenly asked. Yemo said plainly, when I was heavily injured and unconscious you didn't abandon me. So I should take you. Plus I'm going to Tang Yao Heaven anyways. In fact, I really want to know what you plan to do. Jun Bingyu had woken up from that lost state and frowned. After a while, she said, if possible I want to ask you to help me. As long as my wounds and spirit roots can recover, I can leave myself. Yemo nodded. I don't know what immortal spirit herb is needed for your injuries, but I can definitely tell you I will help you. I'm planning to cultivate and undergo trial at Tang Yao Heaven. I will also watch out for how to recover from nirvana failure. Actually, if there is another chaos blue reed, I can definitely recover, but I know it's not something common, Jun Bingyu said helplessly. Other than Yemo, there was no one else to help her. She really wanted to know why Extreme Sword Sect would be annihilated. It was a big sect, and even the greatest sect in Gonghua Heaven or the Heaven Lord Estate wouldn't be able to annihilate them so easily. Yemo looked around the room. There was no surveillance formation or restrictions. Then he took out some immortal crystals and started to set up a spirit gathering formation. After Yemo set up the formation, he immediately realized why it cost 10K immortal crystals to go watch the view. There was a higher level formation here. Most of the immortal spirit chi he gathered would be sucked away. Yemo was furious. How could one cultivate on this ship? But soon he knew being angry was pointless. He could only say to Jun Bingyu, I'll go ask Lan Dishing about the situation. You can cultivate first. Take me too. I want to know how Extreme Sword Sect was annihilated. Jun Bingyu said firmly. She knew why Yemo was going to Lan Dishing. Just when Lan Dishing was cursing as well, Yemo came over. Brother Yi, why did you come over? Lan Dishing felt it was strange that Yemo carried his martial sister over. Yemo saluted with his fists and said, Brother Lan, I indeed need you for something. Lan Dishing took out 2 chairs and let them sit down before asking, What do you need help with, Brother Yi? Yemo nodded. I won't hide it from you, Brother Lan, my martial sister, and I came from Extreme Sword Sect. What? Lan Dishing almost got up hearing this, but soon he realized what was going on. No wonder Yemo said it now. If others knew they were from Extreme Sword Sect, they wouldn't have a life left. I really didn't expect, brother, ye could escape from that disaster. But Extreme Sword Sect, sighed. Lan Dishing clearly felt pity for Extreme Sword Sect. Yemo thanked him and said, Brother Lan, we didn't escape from there. We went out for trial a decade ago and only just got back. But when we were there, we realized the sect was long gone. So you came to ask why the sect was annihilated. Lon Dishing realized. Yes, please tell me, Brother Lon, Emo said. Lon Dishing sighed. I'm not too certain what happened. I got this news from somewhere else. I can't guarantee if it's accurate or not. It's fine. Just tell us, Brother Lon. Emo nodded. Okay, Lon Dishing said. You know the Freedom King, right? Yes, Emo said. Lon Dishing nodded. 2 years ago, that Freedom King suddenly headed towards extreme sword sect. It should be a happy thing that an immortal king was visiting them, and indeed the entire sect was very happy. They even invited him to preach the Tao there, but what the sect leader and the elders didn't expect was that he suddenly asked the sect leader to marry Jin Bingyu to him as his concubine. Jin Bingyu's face changed. She pulled down her veil. Her eyes were full of guilt. She never expected things to have happened due to her. She remembered when she stopped Emo and was scanned by Freedom King's spirit sense. The trouble had begun there. So your martial sister Bingyu, Lon Dishing quickly got up and saluted with his fists. Did martial sister Bingyu's master not agree? And so Freedom King used this to annihilate the entire sect? Emo asked. Emo was sneering. Emo didn't believe an immortal king would annihilate a sect for something as trivial as this. If he really wanted Jun Bingyu, he could have easily taken her before. Why would he wait till now? Lon Dishing looked at Emo in surprise, not knowing if he heard something or guessed it himself. Lon Dishing looked at Emo in surprise, not knowing if he heard something or guessed it himself, but he immediately nodded. Yes, Freedom King was furious and attacked on the spot. A while after the extreme sword sect was annihilated, I heard some other news that Qin Qian Bei got Pengyu immortal fruit. Pengyu immortal fruit? Emo stared at Lon Dishing in shock. How could there be Pengyu immortal fruit in a low heaven domain? Even if there were, it would probably have to be in the depths of the Blackweed Forest. Even if an immortal king went there, he might not survive. Qin Peifu dared to go. Pengyu immortal fruit was a level 7 immortal spirit herb and could be used to concoct I-King pills. Pengyu immortal fruit was top grade level 7. Not even ordinary level 8 immortal spirit herbs were as valuable as it. Lon Dishing smiled awkwardly. This is just what I heard. I heard that Freedom King heard that Qin Qian Bei got Pengyu immortal fruit and wanted to buy it from him. Qin Qian Bei wasn't willing, so Freedom King used this excuse. Emo frowned, and Lon Dishing said again, I heard another piece of news saying that sect leader Qin's daughter brought back a Tao partner. That Tao partner was an immortal pill master and had missed Lotus Heart Fire. Emo didn't expect he was involved too. Lon Dishing continued, the Freedom King has a heaven flame called South Abyssal Hollow Flame. It's purple Nirvana level 3. So he really wanted the missed Lotus Heart Fire, but he was told the pill master was nowhere to be seen. Emo knew the flames a lot. South Abyssal Hollow Flame was ranked 7th of the 108 types of flames. It had a special attribute, and that was when it was purple Nirvana level 3, it needs to devour a 9 clear flame to reach level 4 immortal flame. Mist Lotus Heartfire was a type of 9 clear flame. I don't know for which reason it is exactly, Lon Dishing said, and also realized why Emo was so wealthy. He came from a great eternity immortal sect. Brother Lon, may I ask if everyone in the sect was killed, or whether some people escaped? Jin Bingyu worried about her master the most. Lon Dishing shook his head. That I don't know. I heard some escaped, but I didn't even dare to get close to the extreme sword sect with my power, so I don't know the specifics. Thank you, Brother Lon. Emo was very grateful to Lon Dishing. It was quite amazing that he knew this much. The sect wasn't annihilated for a simple reason. Otherwise, he wouldn't sense danger after it was annihilated. Someone was still waiting there. Lon Dishing quickly said, It's a small thing, no big deal. I've only heard about it on the way. Then he said angrily, This ship is too greedy. We paid 15 million top-grade immortal crystals, and now we need to pay 1. 2 million to stay for 10 years. They're robbing us of immortal crystals. I don't know what there is in this room. It's just an empty room, and this costs a 200,000 immortal crystal deposit. I'm certain that in the end, they will say the room was damaged a little, and the 200K won't be given back. Yemo said, we're under a roof, so we have to keep our heads low. We may have paid a lot of immortal crystals now, but once we get to Tang Yao Heaven, we might earn more. Not everyone has the opportunity to go to a middle heaven domain. That's true. We can only think that way now, Lan Dishing said. Yi Mo carried up Xun Bingyu and said, then I'll be going first. We'll chat again when we're free. Lan Dishing agreed and sent the two out of his room. Although the extreme sword sect was annihilated, it was still a great eternity immortal sect. There were foundations. Who knew when it would rise again? So after knowing the two were from the sect, Lan Dishing was very polite. For the first time, Xun Bingyu didn't have the mood to cultivate. Yi Mo didn't talk to her either. He was thinking about that Freedom King. He had seen him before and could remember his chi. If he stayed at Gong Hua Heaven, he might one day be found. Thinking about this, Yi Mo rejoiced that he made the decision to come here. A few days later, Yi Mo felt bored. Xun Bingyu was patient and could still go cultivate. Yi Mo couldn't take it. He couldn't cultivate in this small room, nor concoct pills, nor forge. Even if Xun Bingyu knew he had the Golden Page world, he didn't dare to go into it. He was asking to die if he went into the Golden Page world when near an immortal king. He almost exposed everything when the Freedom King just suppressed him with spirit sense. Although he was just a golden immortal at the time, he didn't feel he could withstand it just because he was abstruse immortal now. I want to go out. Yi Mo looked at Xun Bingyu and said. Xun Bingyu stopped cultivation and asked Yi Mo, do you want to ask where you can earn immortal crystals? Yi Mo nodded. That's right. We have just 2 million immortal crystals combined. This scam ship isn't so simple. If we run out of immortal crystals and they kick us out, it will be no good. Okay, be careful. For the first time, Xun Bingyu told Yi Mo to be careful. It seemed she also knew that their fates were entwined together. This ship was like a moving immortal city. Although one couldn't see the entire shape of the ship from here, Yi Mo knew the ship was huge. It was hard to believe that this was a ship. One could only imagine how many materials were wasted on this ship that couldn't change size nor be taken into a storage ring. In the low-grade decks, spirit sense couldn't be scanned out, and Yi Mo didn't dare to scan his spirit sense out anyways. Yi Mo walked forward in the narrow corridor for a few thousand meters before seeing a huge exit sign. There were 2 arrows, one pointing to the exit of the low-grade deck, and one pointing towards the marketplace. Yi Mo didn't know if it would be middle-grade deck going out from here, but he wouldn't go to middle-grade deck now. He turned and chose the marketplace. Yi Mo saw a few more diverging paths on the way. Yi Mo knew they were all residential areas. Yi Mo sighed again, wondering just how much the ship was making. As he walked onwards, there were more and more people. Many of them were planning to go to the marketplace, like Yi Mo. There were many people here. When he saw that even for the low-grade marketplace he needed to pay 1,000 immortal crystals to go in, he was speechless. It seemed going anywhere in this ship cost money. Just when he wanted to go in, he saw an abstruse immortal primary stage explain something to the marketplace management. No, the great Unity immortal manager rejected. What's going on? Yi Mo asked the cultivator on the side. The cultivator shook his head. He doesn't have 1,000 immortal crystals, so he was stopped. If you don't hand over the immortal crystals or take out something in exchange of value, I will take you to law enforcement, the great Unity immortal reproached. Seeing that abstruse immortal cultivator so desperate, Yi Mo knew he really didn't have 1,000 immortal crystals. He quickly walked over and gave 1,000 immortal crystals to the great Unity immortal. I'll help him pay. Let him out. The great Unity Immortal glared coldly at Yi Mo and took the immortal crystals, but his eyes were full of contempt. Seeing Yi Mo pay for someone else, all the immortals shook their heads. Yi Mo was poor, but 1,000 immortal crystals were nothing to him. Plus, when he was at the Bai Yi Immortal City's gates, he didn't have immortal crystals to go in. Finally, the abstruse immortal could come out of the marketplace, and he thanked Yi Mo greatly. It's a mere 1,000 immortal crystals, nothing to be thankful about. But since you don't have enough immortal crystals, why come to the marketplace? Yi Mo asked. The abstruse immortal sighed. Friend, you must have been here only for a short while, right? Do you think you can stay inside the house and not come out so you don't have to pay immortal crystals? If that's what you think, you'll soon end up like me. Hearing this, Yi Mo knew this abstruse immortal had been here for at least a few years. Hearing this, Yi Mo knew this abstruse immortal had been here for at least a few years. Yi Mo immediately changed his idea of going on and pointed at a spirit rest tower not far away. Friend, if you have time, let's go in and have a talk. The abstruse immortal knew what Yi Mo meant and nodded. Yi Mo knew that even the best immortal rest tower in the immortal city wouldn't cost more than 100 immortal crystals for 2 hours. Ordinary rooms only cost 10 immortal crystals or even just a few immortal crystals. But when they entered a bird cage-sized room, it cost 500 top-grade immortal crystals for just 15 minutes. Seeing Yi Mo pay 1,000 immortal crystals for half an hour, the abstruse immortal's heart ached. If it was him, he wouldn't dare to spend this much in here. Yi Mo knew the value of immortal crystals on the ship, but he thought differently. In a place like this, if immortal crystals were limited, then there was no use in just saving. It would only delay using up your immortal crystals by a few days. It couldn't solve the problem from the root. The biggest problem was how to earn immortal crystals on the ship. Yi Mo knew pill concoction and forgery, but this was an immortal ship. Even if materials weren't limited, people needed to have the immortal crystals to buy them. Yi Mo asked for 2 cups of immortal spirit tea. The abstruse immortal drank this extremely low-quality tea, and yet moaned in satisfaction. Clearly he hadn't been using immortal crystals for cultivation for a long time. I'm Wu Litsong. Thank you for helping me, friend. However, I will definitely be sent to do labor soon, the abstruse immortal said apologetically. Yi Mo waved his hand. I'm Yi Mo. I believe you know why I came to you. I want to ask about the situation here. Can you tell me what doing labor is? Wu Litsong sighed. The Heaven Domain immortal ship sounds good, but it is disgusting. Going anywhere here requires immortal crystals. If you use up your immortal crystals, you will be kicked out of your place and sent into the lowest or refinery deck. Immortals without immortal crystals are kicked down there. Thousands of immortals stay in one big deck refining void secret silver. Many immortals refine void secret silver endlessly in a place without immortal spirit chi. So eventually they die. Void secret silver was refined from void asteroids. It was a top-grade material for forging immortal artifacts. Depending on its quality, it could range from a level 4 to level 6 immortal material. The top grade might even reach level 7. Void secret silver could be used to set up long-distance teleportation formations or forge void element magic artifacts. It was highly valued, but the only drawback was that it was too hard to refine. Because these things only existed in void asteroids, even a mountain-sized asteroid wouldn't have much void secret silver. The ship flew in the void, so of course people could get the asteroids, but then they needed people to refine them. Realizing this, Yi Mo's heart went cold. They were so cruel. After the immortals of the low-grade decks have been stripped of their immortal crystals, they could only go refine the void, secret silver, or they wouldn't even have an opportunity to survive. Because I have no immortal crystals, I took out the only pills I had left to sell off at the marketplace. But the thing was that no matter how low I set the price, I was unable to sell them, and instead owed 1,000 immortal crystals for the entrance fee. The people here want me to have no immortal crystals, so I will have to go refine ores. Now that you helped me pay the immortal crystals, the great Unity Immortal Manager would definitely hate you. You need to be careful, Wu Litsong said. Yi Mo nodded and asked again, why is it that even if you stay in your place and not go out, you still have to pay immortal crystals? Wu Litsong sighed. Because there will often be heaven domain storms, or even more terrifying natural disasters flying in the void. Every year, people come and take ship maintenance fees. Hearing this, Yi Mo almost wanted to curse. This wasn't an immortal ship. This was hell. One couldn't earn immortal crystals in the ship, and each day they would be spending immortal crystals. Even the wealthiest person would be drained. How do the immortals here earn immortal crystals? Yi Mo asked. There are places to earn immortal crystals, but they are mostly at the top deck. In the lower deck, one can only seek some opportunities in the marketplace. Of course, you can ask to refine ores and can earn immortal crystals by refining asteroids, but that depends on how much you can refine. Sometimes you might refine an entire asteroid and not find a single drop of void, secret silver, Wu Litsong said. How do you earn immortal crystals at the top deck? Top-grade decks are where the wealthy people are at. You can sell things of value at the marketplace, but the stall price is too high, and the standards of those immortals there are also too high. You can't sell ordinary things. Other than that, you can also contribute when the ship encounters natural disasters, but the contribution and the immortal crystals you receive aren't equal. Of course, you can find asteroids outside the ship and sell it to the ship. Just that. It's said that there are also gladiator arenas in the middle and top-grade decks. If you go in and win, you can earn immortal crystals. Casino, pill concoction, forgery, as long as you have the capability or the money to go to the top and middle-grade decks to do business. You have an opportunity to earn immortal crystals. But I've always been at the lower decks, so I don't know. Seeing that Yi Mo was interested, he quickly said, don't go to middle grade and top grade decks so easily. That's an endless drain. Many people want to get a stall to earn immortal crystals, but in the end they lose out and can only go refine ores. By the way, I heard there were immortal kings on the ship. Will we be able to see immortal kings? Yi Mo asked. Wu Litsong looked at Yi Mo speechlessly. Immortal King Masters are all at the top-grade cultivation rooms of the special deck. How can they come out? They're all in solitary cultivation. Unless there are special circumstances, they won't even be seen at special-grade decks. Yi Mo breathed easy. As long as he didn't see immortal kings, it was good. I understand. Thank you. Yi Mo got up. Wu Litsong shook his head. He knew this abstruse immortal probably wouldn't listen to him. When he suffered, he would know he didn't lie to him. Yi Mo and Wu Litsong went down the stairs. Just as Wu Litsong thought, he indeed wanted to go to the middle grade area or top grade area to have a look. Seeing Yi Mo about to leave, Wu Litsong added, Brother Yi, try to not have conflict with people here. Wu Litsong explained, that's because this is a place where you can kill. Power is reason. The managers won't say anything. If there is conflict between two immortals, one of them can challenge the other. If you don't agree, you must compensate with immortal crystals. If you don't have immortal crystals, then your opponent can tell you off to the managers, and your storage ring will be taken, and you will be sent to a refinery. There's no reason at all. Yi Mo frowned and asked, No reason at all, Wu Litsong answered. If you agree to the challenge, you will have to go to the battle arena. Usually only one returns. Wu Litsong added, Brother Yi, if you offend someone, then it's pointless to even stay at where you live. People can break into your place to challenge you and not be held responsible. You will have to pay for the damages. If you were killed, he can get all your belongings and can pay the damages too. The immortal ship doesn't care. As long as they get compensation, it is fine by them. Hearing this, Yi Mo realized it was very wrong of him to help Wu Litsong pay immortal crystals today. Wu Litsong felt bad, and thus told him that much. Him paying for Wu Litsong meant he was wealthy. According to what he said, anyone could look for trouble with him. There was no reason at all. Thinking about this, Yi Mo said goodbye and quickly left. After walking for a few hundred meters, Yi Mo knew he was being followed, but he didn't stop. Moments later, Yi Mo came to his room, but he was furious to see an abstruse immortal smashing the room's restrictions. The immortal smashing the restrictions saw Yi Mo come back and stopped. He felt it was strange. He should have long broken the door, but it had been this long, and the restriction only just started to loosen. The immortal smashing the restrictions saw Yi Mo come back and stopped. He felt it was strange. He should have long broken the door, but it had been this long, and the restriction only just started to loosen. Yi Mo looked coldly at this cultivator. He was abstruse immortal tertiary stage and looked very ferocious. There were some people hiding to the side, but no one dared to get close. Hee, you're back. Perfect, the abstruse immortal said without any worry. If it was before, Yi Mo would be furious and even ask for the low-grade deck manager. But now he didn't think of that at all. You want to ask me to go to the battle arena, right? Yi Mo asked without any anger. The abstruse immortal tertiary stage was dazed. He didn't come to Yi Mo for a fight. He just wanted to scam some immortal crystals and then take Yi Mo's female cultivator for a few days. You dare to fight me? The abstruse immortal tertiary stage seemed to have heard of the funniest thing in the world. Wait, before Yi Mo could answer. The two abstruse immortal cultivators following Yi Mo also came. One was abstruse immortal tertiary stage, and one abstruse immortal middle stage. You have no right to challenge someone. I've challenged you already. I'm Hanbu. It was the abstruse immortal tertiary stage who followed Yi Mo. He had an average build, but his eyes were very fierce. He wasn't planning to fight with Yi Mo, but seeing Yi Mo challenged by someone, he would have no chance if that happened. So he said it quickly. What about you? Yi Mo looked plainly at the abstruse immortal middle stage cultivator. The abstruse immortal middle stage smiled. Of course I'm challenging you, but since Brother Han is already done, so I have no business. Seeing this, the ferocious abstruse immortal immediately realized what was going on. He quickly said, Su Buchan came first. Are you going to go against the rules? Han Bu was an abstruse immortal tertiary stage just like him. Yi Mo said with annoyance, Shut up. I'll take my martial sister from my room first, and then we'll go to the arena. I'll challenge all three of you. And you, what's your name? Hearing this, Han Bu and Su Buchan were dazed. The abstruse immortal middle stage didn't dare to believe his ears. A mere abstruse immortal primary stage dared to challenge two abstruse immortal tertiary stage and one abstruse immortal middle stage? The immortals watching this were all shocked too. After dazing for a while, the abstruse immortal middle stage subconsciously answered, I'm Xia Jingdao, but then he wondered why he answered. Yi Mo ignored the two and opened the door's restriction. He saw Zhan Bingyu sitting inside worriedly. What happened? Zhan Bingyu saw Yi Mo come back and immediately breathed easy. Yi Mo carried Zhan Bingyu on his back and took everything in the room and said, A few blind people want to fight me. We'll go to the battle arena now. This isn't a place to stay for long. After the talk with Wu Litsong, Yi Mo had decided to leave the low-grade decks. He believed he could get a place in the middle grade or even top-grade deck. Unlike other immortals, he was an immortal pill great master and an immortal forgery great master. Why are you fighting? Zhen Bingyu asked. Yi Mo explained. People can be killed here, and they can smash your place. If your fist is bigger than others, then you can go to the battle arena and kill people. There's such a thing. Zhen Bingyu was shook, seeing the three still look at him dazedly. Yi Mo said coldly, "Lead the way. We'll go to the battle arena. You're going to challenge us three?" Su Buqing asked in disbelief. This wasn't some other place where if you agreed you could still trick them and run away. This was the immortal ship. If you agreed you would have to go. Do you want to fight here then? If you do, I can stay with you, but I need to tell the low-grade deck manager first. No, I don't dare to fight here. Su Buqing was lost for words. Yeah, I thought so. Yi Mo carried Zhen Bingyu out and asked a golden immortal peak stage on the side. Where is the battle arena? The golden immortal peak stage quickly pointed at a tunnel. That way, Qianbei. There's a sign at the end of the passage. Thank you. Yi Mo nodded, and then looked back at the three. I'll be waiting for you three at the battle arena. If you don't dare to come, then I'll report you to the manager. Seeing Yi Mo quickly disappear, the three looked at each other. They were here to force Yi Mo to give immortal crystals, but now they were really fighting. He's a mere abstruse immortal primary stage. Can I be afraid of him? I'm taking that female immortal. Su Buqing snarled and followed. At the end of the tunnel, there was indeed a sign for the battle arena. After going past it, Yi Mo came to a huge square. There was a stage in the center. Yi Mo looked at this stage speechlessly. This immortal ship was really eerie. The places people lived in were like bird cages, but this battle arena was insanely big. We're going to middle grade deck after the battles? Zhen Bingyu asked, knowing that Yi Mo had no pressure killing them. Yes, we must leave here. There's no opportunity to survive in the low-grade decks. You saw it. Even if you stay in the room, there will be people smashing your door. Such things won't occur if you go to the middle grade or top grade decks. Plus, the ship often taxes immortal crystals. The few immortal crystals we have aren't even enough for them, Yi Mo said. Zhen Bingyu nodded. Her fate was tied with Yi Mo's. If Yi Mo was killed, she might as well commit suicide. She knew the cruelty of the immortal realm and knew there wouldn't be another person on this ship who would treat her like Yi Mo. When Yi Mo got here, there was no one at the battle arena. When Yi Mo entered, immortals soon rushed in. News of Yi Mo challenging the three quickly spread out. Wu Litsong stood at one corner guiltily. Those people came to Yi Mo due to him. What was more shocking was that Yi Mo was still carrying a woman on his back while fighting. Did the two want to die together, or could the woman help him? While people were discussing, Yi Mo took out a chair and placed Zhen Bingyu on the chair and moved it not far below the stage. Yi Mo knew that even if he carried Zhen Bingyu, he could easily beat them, but the rules here were determined by the managers. If the manager insisted that he fought with help, he would be punished. Seeing Yi Mo put her down, the immortals breathed easy. They thought the abstruse immortal primary stage was really so powerful to dare to fight while carrying someone. Many people saw Zhen Bingyu now. Her immaculate beauty and perfect figure immediately caught the attention of many immortals. The days on this ship was definitely boring. If one had such a beautiful female immortal to accompany them, it would be very good. I'll come, Su Buqing said first, and went on the stage before the other two could talk. Yi Mo guessed Su Buqing would come up first. Kid, since you want to die, I will grant your wish. Su Buqing snarled and released his magic artifact. It was a middle grade, immortal artifact, a metal gourd. As soon as it came out, the battle arena froze. With Su Buqing's immortal essence, it formed a gourd-shaped binding space. He wanted to use his gourd's frost and immortal essence to suppress Yi Mo. Yi Mo was an immortal forgery great master, and he could tell that this metal gourd was good material made with trash technique. This was definitely extreme, grade deep sea frost metal, but the forgerer's capabilities were lacking. Yi Mo released Zisu and hacked out with illusion cloud formation kill strike. Countless purple sword rays formed a trap formation that locked the rapidly expanding metal gourd. His immortal essence and spirit sense were far higher than Su Buqing's, but he was truly helpless now. If he wasn't on the battle arena, he would just smash down with his world rock. Even 100 Su Buqings would be killed, even if he didn't use the world rock and used multiple lightning arcs or use an illusion cloud Hua Mountain strike. He could kill Su Buqing, but he didn't dare to take out the world rock unless he was in a life and death situation. He wouldn't use the lightning sword either. He knew if he was to kill an abstruse immortal tertiary stage as abstruse immortal primary stage, he would have to fight evenly and barely kill him in the end. If he came up and instantly killed Su Buqing, then no good would come to him on this ship. Crack Yi Mo's purple sword rays clashed with the metal gourd, but it didn't trap the gourd, and instead splashed out. Su Buqing was quite shocked that Yi Mo's sword rays stopped his metal gourd. Then he immediately felt that his immortal essence was about to lose control of the gourd. Luckily, the purple sword rays came and went quickly and soon were at the end of their momentum. Su Buqing breathed easy. Yi Mo's immortal essence wasn't potent enough. Su Buqing sneered while Yi Mo retreated. Just this power, and he dared to challenge 2 abstruse immortal tertiary stage cultivators? At this moment, he inserted more immortal essence into the gourd, and multiple frost rays shot out of the gourd, cracking the space nearby. Yi Mo took tens of steps back with a pale face and barely stood. Su Buqing pressed the attack and completely charged at Yi Mo with his gourd. The frost chi loomed over Yi Mo. All the people below the stage looked disappointed. They thought that since Yi Mo dared to challenge the 3, he should be quite strong, but now Yi Mo was about to be defeated. Han Bu and Xia Jingdao regretted greatly. They would have gone up already if they knew things would be like this. Han Bu looked at Chen Bingyu sitting on the side and regretted. This female immortal crystal was an extreme beauty. Even if he sold her to the immortals of the top-grade deck, he would get at least a few million immortal crystals. Only Zhen Bingyu knew what Yi Mo thought. She knew Yi Mo didn't dare to fight at full might. Thud, the metal gourd smashed on Yi Mo's chest, and Yi Mo was sent flying by the metal gourd. Su Buqing chased up and snarled, You're the weakest, abstruse, immortal primary stage I've seen. Just this power, and you dare to challenge me. He knew his metal gourd had heavily injured Yi Mo. At the same time, he locked onto Yi Mo and reached for Yi Mo's neck. At this moment, he suddenly saw a smirk on Yi Mo's lips while a cold voice sounded in his sea of consciousness. Fighting with you is very annoying. I can't even use 10% of my real power. I need to pretend to fight evenly with you. Idiot! Before Su Buqing could react, he immediately felt his immortal essence cripple. That purple sword was already in his Dan Tian and sucked his essence spirit, shattering it. There was extreme terror in Su Buqing's eyes. He wanted to ask how Yi Mo did it, but he couldn't say anything anymore. His meridians were being torn by Yi Mo's immortal essence that was immensely stronger than his. There was a thud, and Su Buqing fell down with extreme dissatisfaction. Yi Mo took Su Buqing's storage ring and gourd before burning Su Buqing to dust with inner fire. At this moment, the immortals below the stage reacted. Just when they all thought Yi Mo would be killed by Su Buqing, instead it was Su Buqing who died. People couldn't believe this sudden turn of events. Yi Mo clearly had the lower hand throughout the battle. So how was Su Buqing killed? Brother Pan, what do you think? At the corner, 2 low-grade deck managers watched. The one asking was the great Unity Immortal, who gave Yi Mo and them jade cards. The immortal next to him thought for a moment and said, if that Su Buqing didn't underestimate him, he should have been able to win. That Yi Mo isn't simple either. Although he's no match for Su Buqing, he's much more cunning than him. He took a hit from the metal gourd purposely and ambushed Su Buching. The great Unity Immortal nodded. He probably has immortal armor to protect him from injury. Otherwise, he would be heavily injured from that blow. He's already heavily injured. Didn't you see him secretly eat pills? His footsteps seem weak too. He won't have such luck in his next fight with Hanbu, the other person said. Hanbu was dazed too. He was regretting he didn't go up earlier before, but now Su Buching was killed. If he went up, would he be killed too? Although he saw that Su Buching was killed due to his carelessness, he began to fear a little. Yi Mo seemed to be recovering and stood on the stage resting for a long while. Then he said to Hanbu coldly, "Hanbu, why don't you come up? Are you going to fight me from below the stage?" The immortals laughed. Hearing such laughter, Hanbu immediately flew up to the stage. "You're quite lucky. You killed an abstruse immortal tertiary stage. If you hand over your storage ring now and go to the refinery deck, I can let you go." Hanbu sneered. Yi Mo hacked out with Zisu straight up. "Cut the bullshit. Hurry up and fight." Hanbu's magic artifact was a red band. He was much more careful than Su Buching. He also released a huge shield at the same time. The red band turned into a ravaging ocean of blood, turning the battle arena red. Yi Mo's purple sword rays seemed like a boat that was about to be sunk at any time. "So you only have such power, and you dare to be cocky." Hanbu, who was a little scared of Yi Mo, saw that his purple sword rays were completely wrapped by his red band, and immediately breathed easy as he inserted more immortal essence into it. The redness became more volatile and rolled nonstop. Yi Mo was completely invisible, now as though being flooded by this sea of red. Even the immortals outside the arena could feel the fierce killing intent of the Red Sea. "Brother Pan, who do you think will win?" the great Unity Immortal Manager asked again. "You're tuning into the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.